on me, gon' back it up. Matter what? Told ya I'ma do me, why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck. Country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up. Only buying car to get tatted up. All that other bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me, I put the ladders up. I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up. Told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what? Told ya I'ma do me, why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck. Country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up. Only buying car to get tatted up. All that other bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me up.
Good evening, YouTube. What's going on tonight? How is everybody doing? Welcome back. We are the A&M Almost Mediocre Sports Guys. Anthony, Mike, with you guys here. How's everything going, Mike?
Pretty good. Not too bad, sir. How you doing?
Doing good. Sorry, guys. I know we took a couple of weeks off here. Had a little bit of family emergency stuff going on. Kids were a little sick. Wife was a little sick too. Myself. So
I was in therapy.
And I guess that's the real thing. Mike let the cat out the bag. That's the real reason why we were out. That it had nothing to do with anything else. Mike was just in therapy, so that.
Well, and real quick, and touching on that. So real quick. So folks, you see what this is, right? And this is the reason for my therapy session. So we all know what this is, right? This is a can opener. Now, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But apparently I seem to be challenged by the operations of a can opener. I mean, they're basically self-explanatory. You open it, clamp it down, turn the little lever, and everything goes according to plan. Well, apparently I failed to accomplish this part of the task because I don't know if anybody else has this problem. Do you have this problem, buddy? So you clamp it down on the can, and apparently there's an angle involved that you have to have it properly set at, or else the thing pops right off the can, falls off, you got to start all over again. And if you don't exactly find where you left off at, then by the time you start going around again, by the time you've gone around the can, the lid still won't come off because you've got like 55 different spots that the thing didn't cut through. So you have to hope, and you have to hope to get through it. So it's just
let me explain something to you. I had a fear of cans for a while. Now let me explain to you as to why, right? So I'm about 8 years old or so. Excuse me. 8 years old or so, and we have a dog. I wanted a dog. We have a dog. I was told feed the dog. Well, of course, at that time the cans weren't the little pop off or the pull things, right? You had to get a can opener, open the dog food back in. So what do? Grab the can opener, start turning it. Well, like you said, Mike, I'm getting towards the end. While it's still stuck on there, it's popped off. So I'm thinking it's kind of good. It's up enough. What I decide to do, instead of wiggle this thing back and forth or just mess with it, I decide to grab the edges
of my
fingers like that and go straight up to try to pull it off. Man, did my thumb bleed like I remember running. I sliced the heck out of my thumb. And all I remember was looking. I was like, "Oh no!" And I'm running through. And my sister, I don't remember. My sister had a sleepover that night before, so her friends are there. I'm running through the living room. My blood's just coming out. They're like, "What's going on with him?" I'm running to the bathroom trying to take care of it. But yeah, I sliced my finger open. I had to go to the hospital and everything for that. So I had a fear of them for a while. And then I realized as I get older that I can make and order whatever the heck I want for food every single night. So if I don't want to pop open cans, I don't have to do that. I can, like right now, I got myself a nice chicken sandwich. A nice chicken sandwich from Burger King. That's what I got tonight. That's what I'm eating. I can do that if I want to as I get older. So, but if I do have to pop open a can, I am smarter than what I was when I was 8 years old. I will say that much.
Yeah, I can't personally make that claim. What I will say, what you said, folks, one of the greatest absolute inventions in the history of mankind is the can of soup with the little tab you pull on it so you get the can.
Absolutely.
This is like life-saving to me, because if I had to rely on the can opener, if nobody's available, I would personally die because I can't get the can open. And I really never want to get an. I just thought, if you have to get an automatic can opener, then how pathetic is this that you can't do this? But maybe that's the route I would have to go eventually. But I'm just like,
work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, and I think technically they really expect you to be smarter than the can opener. Obviously, I'm not. I don't know what to say.
Hey.
But real quick, and touching on kind of what you're talking about, where you had the can situation, but did you ever have that fear? Did you ever have a can of biscuits? A can of biscuits, right?
Oh, the ones that pop it.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Is this not like a traumatic moment in life?
It's still traumatic.
Yeah.
I still won't do it.
You never know.
I know.
Oh
yeah. What I do is I just grab the tab and I just try to fling it out real quick and hope that it just pops and I let it go. But sometimes it don't, so I just kind of try to hit it up against something real quick and just wait for the pop.
And if that doesn't work because the tube is too soft, you just slam it against the ground. Maybe that's just me, and you hope it pops, but then it doesn't, and the dough starts to seep out. This is part of my therapy sessions, folks. It's like therapy session 236. I won't go into the details. Anthony kind of knows, but that's for another topic, another day. But just had to get that off my chest and vent, folks.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Well, it's good to be back, guys. Good to be back. We are excited to be here. Like I said, it just took a couple of weeks off just to kind of get things in order back here with me and stuff. But we are glad to be back. Got a good show in store for you, bringing back our Beefs of the Week. This week, we're going to get into some tournament talk. We're also getting into something that Mike had brought to my attention because I have not been paying attention as much as I normally used to. But we're going to get into a little bit of, have some fun with some WrestleMania 40 coming up. Yeah, so should be exciting, guys. We're also going to get our top 10 in. If you guys don't remember, I know, like I said, it's been a few weeks, but we're doing our top 10 outdoor things to do, like just what we enjoy doing outdoors, stuff like that too. But so be on for maybe a couple hours or so, hopefully. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. But first thing we're gonna get into is, man, Mike, this tournament's been kind of crazy, hasn't it?
You mean the Yukon Husky tournament? I think it's
Hey,
it's 63 teams. It's 63 other teams in Yukon.
I would love to argue about this because I am not a huge Yukon fan, and I would love to hate this. But the fact that this team today was tied with Illinois, who I thought actually in my bracket I had Illinois beating Yukon and moving on at this point, they were tied with them. Yeah. A 30-0 run they go on. Now, a 30-0 run, that is insane.
Well, actually, that might be historic for a tournament.
I don't know. That's something to look into for sure and find out. You're absolutely right. It definitely could be. But, man, there's just something about this Yukon team that it's just they just kind of look unstoppable right now. But at the same time, I enjoy seeing what's going on with NC State.
Yeah.
That is, what a great story that is. To be able to almost not even make the tournament, they have to run through the ACC tournament, win it, and then they're coming in, and now they have a chance to make their way to the Final Four.
Yep. It's been obviously it's not a historic run. I mean, we could all refer back to, 83 when the Wolfpack made that run with Jim Valvano.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, much like you're talking about, Bud, when they went into the tournament this year, the ACC tournament, obviously where they were seeded, and obviously at the back end of that tournament, they literally had to go through Carolina and Duke back to back just to win the ACC tournament, just to qualify like you're talking about. And even doing that, that was impressive to me. We're both ACC fans. We both we both root for some of the Carolina teams, particularly the Tar Heels. But the fact that they could do that, it didn't guarantee that momentum would carry into the tournament. I think when we talked about that a couple weeks ago, I thought maybe, and you did too, that Carolina could make maybe a 16, something like that. But obviously, to get to where they're at now with a chance to go to the 4, is just it's not a Cinderella story this year, but it's a real feel good story with the Wolf.
Yeah, and I did have NC State going to the Sweet 16 at least, and then losing. But man, it's a great ride for them. I mean, that's one of those things is when you're looking at that when it comes tournament time for me, who's coming into the tournament hot.
Yeah.
That and I'm not talking about like these smaller schools, so because of course we have seen it recently more. The 16s going down, are taking out the 1s, and the 15s taking out the 2s and stuff. But not a lot of those keep pushing unless you're like a St. Peter's where they have that runs like that. But NC State's that team as an 11 seed,
Yep.
winning the whole tournament, coming in that strong. That's the team you look at in the tournaments to see who's going to make that Cinderella run. I'm interested to see if they can make a run. Originally, I had in my bracket, I had North Carolina playing Duke for the championship. Now, Duke still has a chance, definitely, to make it. They're playing tonight, I believe, or do they play tomorrow? Do you know?
Is this Duke?
Tonight? Yeah.
Duke will be playing tomorrow.
Tomorrow, that's right. Okay, so I had them. North Carolina obviously bumped by Alabama. Alabama was a great team, man. That was a great win for them against those Tar Heels. Alabama's just been playing great ball, and they just score so many points. And that's one of those teams that could possibly playing against UConn that maybe could take them down, because if you kind of get into this running game with Alabama, they could score lights out. So if they could find a way to shut down UConn a little bit on the scoring and they stay hot, they could find a way to get to the championship. But I would really like to see obviously the main story here is NC State and how far they can actually take this. Or the other story is, man, just how dominant UConn is. Are they just going to keep running through the tournament? Because last year they didn't. I mean, nobody stopped them. Nobody stepped in their way, and it's kind of the same thing so far this year.
Well, and I think the sidebar to all this with UConn is, and we've talked about this, off camera, so to speak, and we probably touched on it on camera too, is that in today's sporting world, particularly we're talking about college basketball, college football, the ability to have a chance to repeat with the NIL and those type of things and all that's offered and transfer portals and these type of things and losing talent and all this stuff. Here's UConn, obviously coming off a championship season and everything they did last year going into the tournament and just literally, for the most part, just blowing people out. And here we are again, and they're in the tournament and they're just literally blowing through everybody. So that also speaks to the coaching staff, the talent that's on the team, and just an overall program ability to pull this off and what's going on with college basketball and college sports as a whole. Purdue's obviously still there. I still, and I have my doubts, and I say that because, like you and I have talked about, the history is there over the last 3 seasons, now 4, with this core group of guys that you can't even make it to the Final Four. Well, they're on the cusp of potentially getting there, but I still have my reservations if they're going to be able to do this or not. We'll see. They're looking pretty good right now, but I still have some reservations. I liked what I saw out of Duke last night. That was a gutty win over Houston. Houston had a couple of injuries. They've been a little bit banged up in the tournament anyway, and they had another injury last night, which obviously was critical to their success.
Yeah.
And so I really hate to see that with anybody. I'm not a big Houston fan. You know this. I know you're not a particularly big fan of them either. But I hate to see teams, whether you root for them or you don't, I hate to see them compromised by injuries. Because if you're gonna lose,
nobody wants to see injuries take out a team at all. I mean that just really sucks for them. But obviously, hopefully, whoever's next up, you got to fill in and kind of fill those shoes and just, enjoy. I mean, you don't get to do this all the time, right? I mean, that's why these kids show so much emotion after winning or after losing. It's just because that at some point it's going to end for you. Whether you're a senior, you're a freshman, sophomore, whatever, at some point it's going to come to an end. So you try to enjoy whatever you can doing this. But yeah, I hope that doesn't really affect them as much. I know it will with the injuries, but yeah, like you said, I agree. I hate to see anybody's tournament get cut short off of an injury.
Yeah, but again, like you said, but that's part of the game. You have to hope you got the guys to step up and fill the shoes, so to speak. and Houston was just essentially racked with a couple of injuries this going into the tournament. That was, even the coach had mentioned that it's going to be difficult. We're just sort of walking through this and just patching and bandaging as we go. But that's part of the game. But you can't take away from what Duke's accomplished, thus far. I thought Duke could make a decent run. I thought Carolina would actually make a little bit of a deeper run. A little bit disappointed in that. And I will say this, one team that really stands out to me, you and I talked about this too, for whatever reason, Arizona is just a program that just doesn't seem to be able to, you've got the one, championship back in 97 with Lute Olson. But countless tournament appearances, sometimes obviously it's ones, it's twos, and just can't really seem to get the job done. Obviously with a new coach this year and a different, approach, so to speak. But at the end of the day, the result apparently plays out, being what it always is. I've said, with Arizona, the more things change, the more they never change with these guys. And I just think Arizona is one of the more disappointing programs.
It's funny you said that about the Arizona, because I was thinking the same thing. Obviously, I was going to talk about some of these teams that just kind of fell apart in the tournament. They are one, but here's another team that I was talking about, and I hate to say it because I know we both enjoy the team. We like watching them, this, that, but like I said, I give Arizona a lot of grief on how they are. Purdue, I've given them grief about losing early, things like that. But another team that needs to start getting some of that grief, and I hate to do it, like I said, is Marquette.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Marquette's been one or two the past few years and stuff like that, and they haven't even had a chance to get to the Final Four. No national championship to show for it, none of that. Marquette's got to win, and that is. I mean, I'm sorry, like I said, I get it. NC State's on this run, they're coming in hot, but at the same time, they that's a team they got to beat. They got to win that one. They're highly favored. I know a lot of teams, a lot of people have picked them.
Yeah.
I know I'm in a couple of these bracket things, and I've seen people that actually have picked Marquette to win the whole thing, and so and like I said, they've been 1, 2s, and 3s the past 5-6 years, and have done nothing to show for it. And I really think they need to find something to do. I love Shaka Smart.
I do too.
He's a really, really good coach, but there's something missing there. I don't get why they can't get deeper in. I mean, even just get to a Final Four or even a national championship. I mean, it doesn't necessarily you have to win it, because it's tough. It is this tournament's not easy, and it keeps getting tougher and tougher each year. Like I mentioned earlier. A lot more 16s have won recently. 15s are winning. 15s are moving on into this tournament recently. So it's definitely a different kind of tournament. It's not what it used to be or anything like that. Where you would at least see mostly the ones make it as almost at least to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8, no matter what. And a few teams slide in, but your Cinderellas were more of the 5s or the 6 seeds. It wasn't these 11s, these 12s, these 15s, or anything like that. Stuff like that. It's definitely a different ball game now.
Yeah, and I think and we've talked about that too. I know a lot of people. You got the ones, and sometimes it really surprised me. But and I think you joked about it right before the tournament because I know you weren't completely serious. But a lot of people just generally lean towards the idea that all 4 number ones are going to make it to the Final Four. And you and I both know that rarely happens. And it wasn't expected to happen this year. And for me, and I think it's the same with you too for the most part, that's kind of what makes it exciting. It's like you're talking about, when these 15s and these 14s definitely. And these 12s, they make a little bit of a push. They go a little bit deeper than you expect. That's what this tournament is built on, essentially, is the idea that in a one-game scenario, one and done, or you keep going. That's what makes it more exciting because the amount of pressure that's now attached, the additional amount of pressure that's attached to that game is something these guys, you can play the regular season, you can play your conference tournament, but now this is it. Lose and you're done. And that's the beauty of this. And that's probably why it's the greatest 2 weeks in sports is because of that format and how it plays out. And there's a lot of pressure there. So, and like when you're talking about with Marquette and the Arizonas, as much as we can say the players are failing, but the coaches are failing. Yeah. I mean, that's a failure on your coaching staff. At some point, you have to be able to rise above that. I mean, at least get to the Final Four, at least get to the championship game. You've got a resume. You're a good coach. with a good program, and you may have been a good coach with another program. So you've shown that you have the resume for this, but yet it's not happening. So your point about Shaka is, and not that we're singling him out, we both like him a lot, but that's just the reality of this, is somewhere there's got to be questions raised about what are you not doing?
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not too sure what's missing from them.
Yep.
I mean, I think they're definitely a really good all-around team. I mean, I wish they'd score a little more. I think they're down a little bit as far as points-wise. If they could score a little more, maybe that's the big key right there, just not being able to score enough points. But their defense is always really good. They're not a terrible free throw shooting team from what I remember. Unless I'm completely wrong, let me know if I am. But there's just something about Marquette. It's just every year something is just missing there that they can't get in there. And the same thing, like you said, Arizona's the same way. You know me, I was never big on Arizona.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people out there that chose Arizona to win out and win this whole thing. And a lot of North Carolinas out there. I mean, a lot of UConns too. I mean, which I totally agree now. Like, I get it. I've seen teams run through a tournament. I mean, North Carolina, I'm a Tar Heels fan. I watched Tyler Hansbrough and them run through a whole entire, NCAA tournament, and I didn't come back the next year thinking they'd be great again.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's hard to run through a tournament like that. And UConn's doing that right now. They are running through the tournament. And they ran through that tournament last year, too. And they're right on their way again. And unless somebody can find a way to stop them, I just see kind of a runaway here all of a sudden. And you brought up a great point you started. It's like the UConn tournament here. But it looks like that's probably what could be happening. Unless somebody figures them out. But I do not see that happening.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I mean, and they run so deep as a team. But and again, touching on teams that have been either disappointing outright or marginally disappointing. As much as it kills me to do it, I'm going to have to, for me personally, I'm going to call out North Carolina just a little bit. This is a team that, for the most part, has kept their core group intact. And I grant they went to the championship game a couple years ago, but I just feel like over a 4-year span for the collective group that they put on the court these last 4 seasons, there's been a little bit of a failure there, and it's a little bit frustrating for me. Hubert Davis, obviously, and it's hard to take over for a Roy Williams, just like with Duke and Krzyzewski.
Yeah.
Those are shoes you really.
No, you're right. You are right. That is a tough. Yeah, that's tough to come into for sure.
That's just again, like you said, that comes with the territory. If you're going to step into that position, you're going to have to be able to bear the brunt of the criticisms. And I feel like Carolina's come up a little bit short in overall expectations. I had them going a little bit deeper. But that's the reality of the sport. We can predict all we want to, but in a one game scenario, if a couple of guys get hot or one guy gets hot and your guys are off, then that's all it takes. And it's just there's not much you can do about it. But I had North Carolina to that list just because I expected a little bit more. And now obviously they're going to be losing a couple more players this year. Again, everything with the NIL and the transfer portals and everything that's involved with the money. I wouldn't want to be we've talked about this. I would not want to be a head coach in collegiate sports right now. That's like insane pressure to me.
Oh, everything. Yeah, no, I agree. It definitely is tough for sure, but obviously, still got a lot of tournament left to move on with. It's fun. It's exciting. Right now, it looks like Clemson's up 8-6 on Bama. That game just started getting underway. We'll kind of keep track of some of these games as we're on here too, guys, to kind of throw out in case you're just kind of listening. Not being able to watch any of these games. Anybody has to work or something on a Saturday night.
And Clemson also a little bit of a surprise, bud.
Clemson definitely, yeah. We didn't get to talk about them. I think Clemson, Tennessee is actually another team we didn't talk about that. I think it's a little bit under the radar too. Keep a lookout for them.
That's right.
It's going to be a tough game with Purdue that they got coming up with that one. So we'll see what they could do. I actually thought Creighton was actually going to get to the Final Four. That's who I had in there, and they played a great game. That was a really good game between those two. But obviously Tennessee was just better. They're a really good team, and that was a tough part of that bracket for me because those were the two teams I decided they were going to play each other, and I originally thought maybe Tennessee would move on, but I still went with Creighton. I just liked what they were doing. I like their coach a lot too. He's oh, what the McDermott,
Yeah.
Doug McDermott's father. He's a great coach. I think he's really good. He's done a lot for that program. He's really turned Creighton around. I mean, Adam has a 3 seed this year. I think that's great.
Oh yeah.
For him.
Fantastic.
So I like what they did. But yeah, like I said, there's still quite a bit of tournament left, guys.
Yeah.
We'll keep you guys informed with this stuff. But like I said, it's been fun. I agree with Mike. This has actually been a fun tournament to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and real quick, just for all you fans out there of the women's game too, Anthony and I are big fans of women's basketball and what they offer too. And obviously, there are tournaments going on right now, and South Carolina's still in it, Iowa's still in it. Obviously, LSU is still in it. Connecticut, again, a college right now, a school that could potentially have both programs, both the women and men, winning national championships this year. So
also NC State
yep,
too, I believe.
yep.
They both men's and women are both in that too. So there's a big chance there. And I believe the NC State women were 6 seed.
Yeah.
And the men's were 11, so they actually weren't top seeds, and both of them are still making their way. So good luck to both those schools, and we'll see who comes out on top for sure.
And obviously, South Carolina is attempting to run the table and have a perfect season, so that's obviously a great accomplishment. So I'm not the biggest of Gamecock fans, but I can respect the accomplishment if they manage to pull that off. But going to be a couple of teams out there. Hopefully, potentially have something to say about that. But obviously, again, both tournaments going on right now. All the respect in the world for what the women do and the excitement they bring to their respective tournament. Like Anthony is saying, we'll keep tabs on both and just enjoy the games as they play out.
Definitely. All right. Well, guys, moving on to our next topic here, we were going to talk about, and like I said, we're going to have a little fun with this time. Mike had brought it to my attention. I did not realize it. I used to be a huge fan, guys. I was a huge fan. Of wrestling when I was younger and stuff like that. So WrestleMania 40 is actually coming up here, and it's coming up this weekend, correct, Mike?
That's it's going to be coming up 6th and 7th, whatever.
6th, 7th.
Next Saturday, Sunday is.
So this is kind of a crazy one, right? Because now all of a sudden, and correct me if I'm wrong, they recently just changed this to Saturday and Sunday now. They're doing two things now.
Recently, it's been going on for about 4 or 5 years now, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But the bottom line here is that WrestleMania has become so popular. That's their Super Bowl. I mean, you know this. That's their Super Bowl. And so for those of you who are not necessarily, wrestling fans or somewhat novice to the entertainment of it, but those who follow it religiously, this is their Super Bowl. This is a build up every year. Typically, the first weekend in April is their big 2-day event, and obviously that's what's coming up. And this is the big 4-0, as Anthony mentioned, at Philadelphia Stadium. The event's so big now, Bud, that every year it's held at the biggest venues.
AT&T Stadium just had it, right? Well, Jerry World, they were just had it there, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And stuff like that. And the big match of this one is The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. That's the main event.
That's the main event, right? Yeah, that's the main event for Saturday. That's their big tag team. The caveat to that is if The Rock and Roman Reigns were actually cousins, they're actually related in real life. So those who are not aware of that, for those that are very that follow again wrestling religiously, anything I'm saying here, this isn't new to you, but for everyone else that's somewhat invested, a little bit of a revelation, I guess. But the Rock and Roman are literally blood related. But this goes back over the last couple of years, about where Roman Reigns and his two brothers, Jimmy and Jey Uso, they've come together, and so Roman is the tribal chief. That's his designated title. So when he comes to an event, he is the tribal chief, and anybody that wrestles with him or falls under that collective group, he is their established leader, thus the bloodline. But since it involves literally blood relations, it's become the bloodline with Jimmy and Jey. Although Jey is not, he sort of stepped away from that because of issues with Roman and his brother. And that type of thing. So that's over the last couple of years, this has become an excellent storyline that somehow, and real quick, I want to fall back on, Anthony mentioned when he followed wrestling years ago, folks, he was on the back end of the Attitude Era with Triple H and Stone Cold,
Yeah, the
Rock,
DX,
yeah,
Generation X, and all that.
Generation X,
Obviously,
and all
Stone
these
Cold
guys.
and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, it was.
It got cause, and
Go ahead, bud.
something you mentioned just real quick, and I love that they're still doing this. Is you mentioned that the storyline
Mm-hmm.
to this and everything. That's one thing that wrestling has always done is coming up to WrestleMania. There's always a great
Yeah,
storyline leading into WrestleMania. They've always done great with
yeah,
that. I've always felt that way. That there's always been something great leading up into it. Like I said, yeah, when I used to watch this, I mean, I was in that, like you said, D Generation X, the Stone Cold era, The Rock, Mankind, Kane, Undertaker, all those guys. That's what I was there for. So it has been quite a while since I've watched it. But Mike's really intrigued me and kind of getting back into this a little bit, guys. He's been sending me clips, having me watch some stuff, get into this, and it kind of gets you going a little bit. It's one of those things that it's fun, even though you sit there and you're like, man, these guys are crazy doing some of these stunts and some of the stuff they do, but it's just fun. It's just you just kind of get at home and you just throw it on and it's just something to relax and just enjoy. I forget how much fun it was to kind of watch wrestling and what it was like even then. But I think a lot of it had to do with just the fact that a lot of a lot of the wrestlers changed. I didn't
yeah.
kind of really enjoy that. I think it's kind of like sports, right? When you start watching your favorite quarterbacks leave and your running backs and it's past the era that you used to watch, it kind of goes away, right? That's kind of what it kind of like is like for me for wrestling. But obviously, I used to be a big fan of The Rock. Glad that he's on this one and he's going to be there. I think obviously that's huge for wrestling to have him there.
Yeah, and again, folks, as Anthony was talking about, Anthony was an enormous wrestling fan, and actually I was too. And again, but cut on the back end of the Attitude Era, but he was a huge Stone Cold fan, The Rock, that type of thing. And at that time, also, if you went over to WW or WCW, they had what the NWO with Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and those guys. So you had these two factions, these two different wrestling organizations that were competing against each other, and it just made for great wrestling theater. And eventually WWE bought WCW, so that sort of went by the wayside. And then you had this lull. You had the occasional superstar that would come along with the John Cena's and that type of thing who helped carry the sport. But again, as Anthony's talking about, you become attached to these certain wrestlers, and so much like any athlete, once they step away from that profession, it's hard to stay invested because the people that you like, the people that you rooted for, that type of thing, they're no longer there. So it's hard to maintain your interest. And I don't think Anthony knows about this. So, with Vince McMahon and obviously with Triple H marrying into the family with Stephanie, and when Triple H stepped away from wrestling, as an in-ring performer, and he became the general manager, and now he's segued into a higher position. So he oversees the talent, he oversees the storylines, or he has a heavy hand in all of this. Wow. Triple H has been enormous, but in establishing better storylines. He understands how the sport needs to operate, how it needs to be presented to grab the fans, to give them. He's brought back that Attitude Era on a slightly lesser degree. It can't be as
nice. Well, that's good. That's
good. And so with this Bloodline storyline, that was established a few years back, and somehow through all this, over the 2.5, 3 years span, they continue to find ways to continue to make this storyline interesting. So here over the last 6 months, there was these undertones with them talking to The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, away from wrestling. Hey, would you ever consider a match with your cousin? This is what everybody's talking about. This would be the dream match of a lifetime. And yeah, you never know. We might be able to make this work. We'll see. You never know what can happen. So slowly but surely, the comments were made, the suggestions were put out there, the expectations, the excitement began to build. And about, I don't know, I can't quote exact time frames about it, but about 6 weeks ago, maybe 7, The Rock got in the ring, and this was just at a regular event. And at the back end of the event, he was addressing the crowd, and essentially he just, he said, hey, they were in San Diego for the event. He said, hey guys, he said, I've enjoyed being here. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to find a place to eat. Don't know. What do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Should I just find a good place to eat here in San Diego? Can you mention any place? But when I go to eat, should the Rock sit at the bar to eat? In the crowd, you can just feel the excitement. And he says, or do you think the Rock should eat at the head of the table? And the head of the table is Roman. The crowd went ballistic. I mean, they absolutely just erupted.
Yeah.
But this was the catch to all of this. So eventually, when it all looked like it was going to come to be, and it's, you know, and there's Cody Rhodes is involved in this now, and Cody Rhodes is, you know, the son of Dusty Rhodes, legendary performer, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And his half brother Dustin Rhodes. Who wrestles in the AEW. But so this is where this all comes. You know, Cody Rhodes, he had a chance at the title last year at WrestleMania. It didn't come to be. So this is an ongoing storyline. So here we are, flash forward, and Cody gets another shot. You know, he won a battle royal, so that gave him the opportunity to literally decide which main event did he want. Who did he want to challenge? Did he want to challenge Seth Rollins? Or did he want to challenge, you know, Roman Reigns? Well, he wanted to challenge Roman Reigns. And so, and I don't know if you had a chance to see that video. They had a press conference for WrestleMania. Roman came out, Seth came out, and they asked Roman, said, so who have you decided on? And he said, well, I know everybody wants Cody, but I'm going to wrestle The Rock. And everybody just erupted, you know, because this is what everybody been waiting for. And so, and Seth is standing there, and he chimes in on a couple of things, and then you hear The Rock's music come down, and that catchphrase that always is announced right before he shows up, you know, if you smell what The Rock is cooking. Yep. So The Rock comes out, and they start talking and everything, and he's just building. So, you know, how excited are you for The Rock versus Roman Reigns? Is that? And you hear the crowd get excited, and some are booing. And he starts talking about a couple other things with him and Roman. And you can literally hear one half of the audience saying, Rock, Rock, Rock. The other side, Rock sucks, Rock sucks, Rock sucks. Because they were trying to take away from Cody what he had earned at the Battle Royal. So finally, The Rock is talking, and he's thanking everybody, to the fans around the world, to everybody associated with wrestling, to everybody involved, thank you, thank you, thank you. And to all of the Cody crybabies. And this is where he catches everybody, because he was built up as the good guy. He was going to challenge
he's kind of taking a little bit of a turn.
That's exactly it. So this changed, and so he starts calling everybody the Cody crybabies. And obviously, as you know, the fans take exception. They start booing and all this stuff. And Cody finally comes out, and they get into a verbal exchange. And Seth is in a verbal exchange with Roman, and we got 4 guys just going at it. And finally, The Rock reaches over and he slaps Cody right across the face. And I'm talking, you know, he puts a good slap on him, turns his head, and all that stuff. And they get into it and things like that. So this is just where this is all building to. And so finally. They finally, you know, and then Cody came out the next night, or the next week, I believe it was, and now he had agreed to step aside originally. He agreed in ring to The Rock. He says, no, I'm going to step aside and let you have this match. But then Cody came out and challenged it, saying, hey, no, I earned the right to have this match. I'm taking it. I'm fighting Roman Reigns. So that's where this all came to a head at. So they get into it now, and then about a week later, The Rock and Roman came up with some stipulations. Okay, so if you want, and this is the whole thing, The Rock now feels like he's been slighted by Cody, took away the dream match that everybody wanted with him and Roman, just because he's got to have his little, you know, moment. So then The Rock stepped into the ring with Roman and Seth and said, well, here's the deal. What we're going to do is we're going to have a tag team match the first night. If you and Seth win, then you, Cody, and Roman will have your match Sunday night, no interference. if me and Roman win, it's anything goes. Because I'm not going to let you win this title. You're insulting the bloodline. You're insulting my relatives. You're insulting my heritage. So if we win, it's anything goes. If my relatives want to come out and beat the crap out of you, then that's what's going to happen. So if you don't win, this is what's going to happen. So your ass better win. And this is the beauty of it, but is that, Dwayne has taken this a notch higher. This is like the old throwback attitude era.
It seems like it. It seems like it.
Cuss words. They had just last week, he beat the living crap out of Cody in Chicago. Took it outside the arena, beating the crap out of him, pushes him out the door. And just as he pushes him out the door, he looks back and he's looking at this camera. He's saying, "Chicago, is this what you wanted? This is what you've been waiting for, right? This is what you've been talking about."
I did see that clip with that.
You pieces of, and he's just using the words, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. This guy is cussing and doing, and
wow.
Kids don't cuss, but that's the beauty of this.
No, I agree. Yeah, and it seems like it. The more you talk about it, the build up to it, I'm actually kind of looking forward to actually trying to put this on and watch a little bit of this. It's fun. Like I said, it's nice to see a good storyline again. Obviously, I'm not kept up as much on my wrestling as I once did. It's still nice to see some of these old guys still sitting in it, like you said, Triple H running it, doing this stuff too. It's been like I said, it hasn't been something that I paid tons of attention to, but I think I might decide to throw this on and see what kind of goes on. Have you picked yourself? Who do you think is going to take it?
Check this out. I didn't notice this. I watched this happen. Right, I was watching the show. So next thing, when they took it outside, you've got all the trailers that the equipment goes into and that type of thing. So the trailer, at one point that's behind Cody as he's getting beat up, and it's well lit. It's a white semi-truck. The trailer's all white.
Yeah.
The two faces on the side of the truck, the only two faces on the side of that semi-truck, bud, Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena. Now,
okay.
Everybody's speculating that, so this can't be coincidence that the only semi we see, and it's white, and the only two faces on this semi are two of the guys that had the biggest rivalries with Dwayne Johnson in his wrestling career. So now a lot of people are speculating that on night 2, if this does happen to get out of hand, you're going to hear,
guys might show up.
Yep, and you're going to hear, and nothing would be louder than to hear Stone Cold's glass breaking.
Yeah, that's
something
true.
bad is going down. So everybody's got this conspiracy theory thing going that this is what's happened. That John Cena and The Rock, or that Stone Cold and John Cena are going to show up and help somehow deal with this whole thing.
Wow.
But there's some other good matches too, bud. I didn't send you this video, but there's Seth Rollins. He's defending his title against Drew McIntyre for his championship belt.
Yeah, I mean, even we got a couple of first women's championships too, right?
Oh yeah.
Io Sky and Bailey. You got Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch going against each other too. Logan Paul will be there too.
Logan Paul's going to be there. Yep, okay. He's going to have a match going on, triple threat match, I believe it is, or maybe not a triple threat match. I know he's going to have one. Who was he going to be with? That is right. Yeah, he's going to be wrestling Randy
Orton and Kevin Owens, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens in a triple threat match. Bailey's going to be wrestling for a championship against Lilo Sky. But the biggest one, obviously, is with Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. They had a great segment last Monday night where Rhea came out to the ring and Becky was there. A lot of build up to this, and one of the better takes I've seen in a long time with Becky and Rhea standing there, and Rhea literally, and Rhea's big thing is, she's referred to as mommy.
Okay.
Because because part of the faction that she's with, but also it's just part of her whole presentation, if you will. But so she was standing there, obviously, with her boyfriend Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio's son.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so Becky and Rhea get into it, And at one point, Becky's got a new book out that sort of details her life and these type of things, a lot of hardships and stuff like that. And she is very, very protective of her little girl. And Seth Rollins is her husband. So she's very, very protective of her family. And it's something she really doesn't, even in the context of wrestling, she doesn't like you to challenge that aspect of her life. So during that face-off, if you will, last week, Mommy, or I should say Mommy, Rhea got into it with her, and she says, I could basically, she's saying, I could literally just beat the living crap out of you at WrestleMania. I could just leave you for dead if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. And you know why I'm not going to do that? Because I want you to be sitting at home with your little girl on the couch watching me wrestle, and I want you to hear your daughter look at me on the TV and say, Mommy. And at that point, Bud, Becky actually, I think literally that was a place you're not supposed to go, even in the world of wrestling. Don't do this. And that you can see in her face that there was a lot of emotion attached to it. She challenged her on it. And even if you looked at Rhea's reaction, you could tell that she said, maybe I should have thought twice about throwing that out there.
Yeah, right.
But the cool aspect of it, too, was that Dominique jumped into it. He tried to push Rhea away, and Becky's like, is that how it works? This is a new one. The guy pushing the girl away? Your boyfriend is pushing you away? Dominic comes back over and stands in front of Becky, and she's just going off on him. And so he looks back at Rhea, and just as he's coming back to look at Becky has her fist wound up, and she just clocks him right in the jaw. And I mean, this was a clean hit, but this wasn't some type of fake, segment. This is where she actually caught the guy in the chin. It's a beautiful moment. But but it's just good to see again, folks. Wrestling has kind of got that attitude going. Paul or Triple H has brought that back to the sport, particularly everything that's going on with Vince McMahon and all his legal issues and some of the things that he's done that just are sometimes unbelievable from what I'm hearing. But but it's great to see. It's refreshing to see. It's kind of fun to, even if you don't commit to the full 3 hours on a weekly basis, you kind of jump in, you catch a few good storylines, and just it kind of gives you a throwback feel to what it used to be like and stuff. So it's exciting to see. I think WrestleMania 40 is going to be huge. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. And hopefully for all the wrestling fans out there, I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed. And for those that might have some curiosity about it, you should tune in, because I don't think you're going to be disappointed. That's next weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Big 3-hour event each night. I think it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. I think it's something that I might definitely want to throw on again and just kind of watch. Kind of see how these things all kind of pan out now that we kind of know a little bit more about it. So I appreciate you giving us the insights on it, Mike. That was great.
You betcha.
This was great for everybody. So please, let us know, guys, too. If you guys get a chance to sit back and watch that. Obviously, we probably will be doing a podcast in the middle of that when stuff's going on, more than likely then, with it being on a Saturday night. But obviously, we can keep up with stuff like that, too. If need be. But definitely something to look forward to for sure, Mike. So thanks for that one. Hopefully maybe get back into this a little bit of fun wrestling again for me. Like I said, we've been having trouble watching professional sports recently and things like that, and so maybe that's just something that we just go and do as far as as far as the core for professional sports with the basketball, football, baseball, and stuff like that. It's been rougher for us to enjoy and watch. So maybe that's something to get back into for sure. But so sounds good. Well, we'll be looking forward to WrestleMania 40 for sure, everybody. Tune into that and enjoy it. We're going to take a break real quick now, and then when we come back, we're going to get into our Beefs of the Week. All right, we are back, and we are going to get started with our beefs of the weeks. I know we've been a little off on these ones, but we have brought them back. Like I said, let us know if you guys have enjoyed us doing these beefs of the weeks. I think it's something that both Mike and I have actually kind of found fun trying to find things throughout. And it's not necessarily sports related either. Right? These two that we're going to be talking about. Mine's a little bit more sports related today, but Mike is definitely not going to get his beef of the week has nothing to do with sports. I mean, it still could. It definitely could. But Mike, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about how cell phones kind of taken over a little bit, correct?
Yeah, but I get. I'm not saying anything new here when I say we all need a cell phone. I mean, if nothing else, for safety reasons, you break down the side of the road.
Oh yeah.
Obviously,
yeah.
if you have kids as a parent, you want to be able to make a phone call if something bad happens, that type of thing. But I just feel like where we at society right now is it's almost like we're codependent on a phone. It's almost like this attachment. It's an appendage that we live as people. Apparently, if you remove it, you're going to die. I mean, this is the mentality people seem to be taking. I see videos. You've probably seen videos too. A young person in particular, they get their phone taken away. It's like you shot them with a bullet. I mean, they double over, they cramp up. I mean, and they just can't exist unless they have a phone. And it's just mind-boggling to me that we've reached this point. And one of my biggest frustrations has become just not just the fact that everybody has become so self-reliant upon these items, these devices, but how it affects driving in this country. And this is a big deal. I mean, it's bad enough. Do you know that 8 to 12-year-old kids, bud, on average, this is on a daily basis, 8 to 12-year-olds, they are texting on their phones 4 to 6 hours a day. This is a day, 4 to 6 hours a day. Your average teenager.
I don't even think I had my first phone until I was about 14 years old.
Yeah.
So I mean, you said it was between 8 and 12?
The 8 to 12-year-olds are on their phones texting.
Jeez.
4 to 6 hours a day. A day.
Wow.
Teenagers are texting on average 9 hours a day in this country.
Wow.
9 hours a day. So if you look at that, let's say the average, and we know they don't, but if you average it out, so you're on the phone for 9 hours, you're texting 9 hours out of your day. Let's say you sleep 6-7 hours, right? That's 15 hours total. So that leaves you with essentially 9 hours of time to do whatever else you're doing, schoolwork, or maybe you have a job. I don't know. This is what you're doing as a teenager. This is how much time the phone is occupying you with. It's amazing. 1 in 3 accidents in this country. All right, so is that what it was? Let me look at this real quick, bud. Well, yeah. Well, actually, 1 in 3 teens. 1 in 3 teens. I want to make sure I get this right. Yeah, 1 in 3 teens text while they're driving down the road. Currently in this country, that
doesn't surprise me. That doesn't
30%. 30%.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
1 in 4 accidents in this country. 1 in 4 accidents in this country is text related. 25% is related to you texting, while you're driving down the road.
I get it. I totally get where you're coming from on this. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't text and drive because I have.
Yeah.
I do. And do I, obviously I don't. For me, I try not to do it, definitely. Obviously, when I'm driving around the family, things like that, I got the kids in the car, I try not to, for sure. Obviously, I'm more than likely try to look at my phone more if I'm at a red light or stop sign, something like that. But I get it to the point where you're talking about we just are way too dependent on these phones. I tell these people all the time, and even for myself, like I feel like I have to be kind of dependent on my phone in a way because for my job, being an outside sales rep, that's how I get people to call me. That's how I get to sell stuff. So I get you have to have a phone nowadays, and I totally agree with the point about the safety too. I mean, you never know when you're going to break down. You may need to call somebody, call for help, anything going on. But at the same time, like, we don't need these things permanently attached to our hands. We don't need these selfie sticks. We don't need people Snapchatting from the time they wake up till the time they go to bed. Everything they're doing when they're walking into work, from when they're walking around their job to what they're eating for lunch that day to the dinner to what they're listening to the whole drive home in the car. I don't need to be scrolling through that all day long listening to that. I'm sorry, but I don't need to know your whole entire day.
No. And this is another thing. So 26%, 26% of the people in this country, I'm sorry, not 26%. What was it? No, this is what it is. On average, the average person in this country, they text 26 minutes out of every day. That's just across, the country. 68% of the people in this country, 68% would rather text than talk to you. They don't want to have a conversation. They want to have a verbal conversation.
Oh no, nobody nowadays. If you try to, a lot of people you try to call nowadays be like, oh, just don't call me, just text me. Call me, don't text me. I'm like, if it's something I need to get through to right away, I need to explain something right away, or I'm not gonna. For one, if it's something I have to explain thoroughly, I'm not gonna write some huge essay through text. I'd rather just call you and explain it to you. And if it's an emergency, there's a reason I'm calling you. I need to speak with you, not that. I could easily just say, hey, good morning, how you doing? If I wanted to just text, casually, if I'm calling you, there's a reason. I need to speak with you now. I need to figure out something, or, there's a reason behind it. But you're absolutely right. Nobody likes to talk. It's incredible. I mean, and then all these other apps too that people would prefer than talking on the phone. I mean, you got your Google Meets, you got the FaceTiming, things like that too. I mean, like I said, you got Snapchat where you can video chat on there if you want to, or call on Facebook Messenger. I mean, there's just so many different ways to call and talk to people. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy, but 60% of all college students. This is college students, right? 60%. They willingly admit to this. They are addicted to their phone. This is college students. They're addicted to their phone. Sure. At any given time in this country, at any given time across this country, 600,000 people at any given minute in a day are texting on their phone. 600,000 people in this country.
Oh, I bet.
Time.
Oh, yeah.
I remember one time.
And their whole lives are within that phone. Because here's the thing. Back in the day, what did you have to do? You had to remember phone numbers if you needed to call somebody, correct? You had to remember at least your number. You had to remember, mom, dad's if they had a cell phone at the time, or maybe grandpa, something like that. That's what I had to remember. You had to memorize numbers. You know what else throws me off is, remember when you used to have to, Mike, how did you used to navigate on the road?
What do you mean?
Before phones. You had to read street signs, didn't you? Didn't you have to read street signs and they tell you, this is the 500 block, or this is the 200 block, right? Yeah. Nowadays we don't, because you know what it is? Google Maps.
Yeah.
Google Maps on our phone, right? Go into Google Maps, put in your address, boom. I'm going to follow whatever this says, right?
Yep.
Nobody nowadays, if you took away these and told somebody to get in a car and go from here to go to wherever you're at to this address, they gave you the exact address, had no clue how to get there.
No, they have no clue. No clue. And if Siri's not in a good mood, and I've experienced it, then she's not going to help you because she's not wanting to hear it. I can't, you can't figure anything out because she's not talking to you. And I'm like, you're a device. You're supposed to be helping me here. But see, that's the thing. Like you're talking about, Bud, never had to rely on any of that type of stuff. You either knew by streets or you had a map or whatever you had to do. And it's crazy to me. I watched literally, Bud, went to a restaurant one night. Literally, as I sat down, I think my nose is bleeding. I'm sorry, folks. I'm having a bloody nose all day. Anyway, my apologies. So I walk into this restaurant. We sit down. This young couple, they sit down across from us, same time. And I know it wasn't a first date. I knew it was not a first date. You could tell by body mannerisms, things like that. I'm not kidding you, bud. We order our food. They literally, and they were there. We were there for about an hour. They were probably there for about the same amount of time, a little bit longer. I'm not kidding you. Not one time did they look up from their phones. I'm like, what are you doing? This is a date.
Oh, yeah.
Do you not want to look at the
that
person
doesn't surprise me one bit. That doesn't surprise me one bit. I mean, everything nowadays, it all has to deal with phone. Everything. Everybody's life is dealt through a phone. It literally, and they wonder why there's more accidents on the road. We wonder why, even people... The thing that really bugs me the most is, like, why can't you stay off the phone just from that time you get, like, if you're going to, like, a Walmart, from the time you get out of your car just to walk into the building, why can't you stay off of it?
Yeah.
Like you're literally trying to drive to the parking lot and people are just looking down as they're still texting, walking through, and it's like you're not paying attention to anything.
Nope.
You better hope that these other drivers are paying attention to what's going on because you're gonna get hit. Like literally from just your car, from the parking lot to inside, you can't stay off of it for that
Nope.
30-second walk or whatever it may be, 15-second walk into the building.
Yeah, I've seen, and you've seen it too. I've seen families go into places and sit down for a meal or whatever they're doing, right? They don't interact. They don't talk to each other. Everybody's got a phone.
Well,
And I
and
get
think
it.
about this too. Like even the stuff right now, like everything now is everybody is basically doing these. Everybody wants to be kind of on
Yeah,
YouTube
they
and
want to be a
Twitch and
TikTok
stuff.
sensation.
They're doing all these TikToks and all this other stuff, and they're carrying their phones like crazy, and they film everything,
Yeah.
everything and like I said, literally, phones are people's lives now. That is where we're at now. They are literally their lives.
The big, it's they invest more money. Companies invest more money in coming up with the newest version of a phone than they do researching cancer. This is the priority in life. It's let's figure out a better way to do this with a phone. And if we figure out something for cancer, well, hey, that's cool too. That's just a bonus. But we got to get this next. And that's the thing. Phones are like cars. The minute you drive one off the lot, it's outdated. It's used. Phones are the same thing. You walk out of the store with it, a day later, that phone's basically outdated. They're getting ready to come out with the next biggest thing. I can't even believe the fact that and we all have to have phones, folks, but you can spend $1,300 on a phone, $800, $900 on a phone. Is that how important this is? I have apps on my phone. I don't even know what they do. I've had this phone for like 3 years, and I've got like 40 apps here that I have no clue what they do.
I'm at you. I totally agree with you because here's the thing: is I recently have gotten a new phone myself. Okay, and literally, I won't say I probably spent probably just at least a half an hour going through the apps that were actually already on that phone, trying to figure out exactly what they do, what they mean. Do I need them? And if honestly, if it got to a point to me where I was just sitting there like, you know what? I don't think I absolutely knew this. I just went ahead and just deleted it off the phone. Because at that point, I'm like, what's the point? Why do I need this for? Why? And the other thing is why is this on the phone? Like, I'm literally set up when you first get your phone. You're set up with like 30 apps already connected to your phone, on top of the ones that you've already been using.
Yeah, I've got one here. I told you. It says where what? I don't even know what this is. And
Well, that's probably the wear for like if you have your watch probably hooked up for it.
oh, okay. Well,
Is
see,
that what it is?
that's news to me, and I've had this phone for
That's
three
probably
years,
it.
and I don't know what it does. And here's the other curiosity. I swear to you, I remove an app, another one somehow seems to appear, and this just cracks me up. I've got like game apps that I don't even know what they are. I don't even play your games, but I'm
Hey,
showing up.
the one thing I will say though, and I think is one of the best things that all these companies are is doing these watches though. I think the watches are absolutely the best things that they could have did because to be able to say that I don't actually even need this phone and recently I have and I'll let people know and let us know in the chat too, guys. Are you an Android or are you an iPhone user? Which one do you prefer? Which one do you like? Listen, that
Right.
I recently just switched over to iPhone
Okay.
myself. It's just a lot easier for the family and stuff. My wife's got the iPhone. Both kids got iPads, so I mean, I was the only one that was the outcast with this. So it's just like a lot easier in case they need to call for some reason. They all have FaceTime, easier to get a hold of us type stuff. Um, but for me, I just switched over. But the watch from iPhone to Android for me, I thought was way better because this watch is literally my phone. Like I could literally walk away from my phone, answer it if I need to, hear them off of it, talk to it. I could text directly off of it. This watch is literally the phone, so I literally don't even have to carry that. So it's like every once in a while I could just turn, look, boom, whatever, get back to whatever I need to do real quick. So that's the one thing I think that was great that they did. Obviously, hopefully more people will look at getting the watches and doing that because it maybe will keep you from being on it as much. Where you kind of just see, oh, okay, what does that mean? Okay, give me a call or this is who's calling me. Give a call. It's a lot better than saying, oh, I got to pull out my phone every single time. scroll through, look through everything like that. But I get it, Mike. I get where you're at with it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, folks, like I said, last thing I'll say is, look, I get it. Like I started this with, we all need phones. They're a necessity. They help us, like Anthony's talking about, whether it's a wristwatch phone or it's a regular phone. You keep track of your kids. You know what's going on with your wife and husband, those type of things. I get it, but folks, trust me. I mean, if you set it down for 5 minutes, I can. I'm not a doctor. I can guarantee you this, though. I don't even play one on TV, but I can guarantee you, if you put the phone down for 5 minutes, you're not going to hemorrhage. Nothing's going to explode. Your mind's not going to just blow up. You're not going to have a tumor. It's a phone. It'll still be there. Go talk to your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad, whatever. But come on, people. It's 5 minutes. Put it down. And please, put it down when you drive, for crying out loud.
Yeah, no, I get it, Mike. I get it for sure. Well, that's a good one for sure, Mike. That's a great one. But let us know, guys. Like I said, if you guys, are you guys iPhone gang or are you guys Android? Let us know in there. Mike, I believe you're Android, right?
I'm an
You got
Android.
an Android?
My wife is actually a smartphone, so and she always has been. I've always been a Droid, and I don't know. I could probably switch over, but I just enjoy Droids.
I don't. I actually don't mind the iPhone too much. They're both got. They both have their things that I like most about. I'll tell you what though, this iPhone 15 that I got, I mean this battery life is insane on that. I'll give you that. That's the one thing I'll give for that. Oh, I'm not kidding you. Usually I like when I'm at work or something, I'll listen to my music off of the phone, put it directly to the Bluetooth. Like I said, I use my phone quite a bit for work. This that. My last phone that I had, which was the S23 or 22. I mean, that thing by lunchtime would already be down to like almost 50%, 40%. This phone, I mean, I can go the whole day, and by the time I'm done, and that's using Google Maps. The maps. That's using everything with music. I'll finish the day at like 75% still on my battery with all of that on there, or even more, depending. So I'll definitely give them the battery life on this. Like I said, the watch for the iPhones have been a lot better too, But I agree though, as far as like we do need to do better as a whole, as far as trying to find a way to stay off our phones more and kind of enjoy things, enjoy the outdoors maybe a little more. That might be where we're getting kind of caught up, where we don't see a lot of kids outside anymore playing, riding the bikes, playing football, doing whatever outside and enjoying it. And same thing with mine. I mean, we try to monitor our kids with how much that they're on their stuff and try to do some other things and still try to be a kid with more than just on all these electronics nowadays too.
And I mean, and shocker, folks. I mean, trust me, Anthony can attest to this. We both use our phones like he's talking about, but I mean, believe me here, Anthony and I, we actually have FaceTime conversations where we actually talk to each other. You get actual physical, facial expressions. I mean, it's the coolest thing in the world. It's 100 times better than looking at a screen and just seeing, a square box with words in it. Trust me, it's a lot.
Definitely, for sure. Well, good one, Mike. Good one. We look forward to next week's and see what we got in store. But for me, moving on to mine is I kind of want to talk about the loyalty in sports nowadays. And what I mean by loyalty, I'm not just talking about just the players either. I'm kind of going to get more. I kind of want to get more in depth in even with these owners, coaches, just everyone that has to deal with sports, because this is starting to get crazy. Because recently, if everybody's been kind of paying attention to all the free agency moves, all this stuff going on in the NFL, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
With how many moves we had. Obviously, some of the big ones, Russell Wilson leaving Denver, going to Pittsburgh. Saquon leaving the Giants, going to Philly, which is actually a huge deal right there, because it's very, very rare that we see especially NFC East. We don't see those teams switch players.
Not interdivisional.
I mean, it's basically just like, no, we don't, if you're a Giant, you don't like Commanders, Cowboys, or Eagles, right? Same thing with Eagles. You don't like Giants, Cowboys, and Commanders, and so on and so forth. So for Saquon to go over, part of me, I'm not that upset with the fact that he's going to the Eagles. I'm a huge Saquon Barkley fan. I'm not going to sit here saying I'm a Giants fan or an Eagles fan, because I'm not. But the fact that I get what he needed to do. He needed to better himself. He needed to go somewhere where he's going to do. He has been carrying the load in New York for so long. It's time for him. And this is what I'm talking about, where the loyalty, as far as like, I'm not upset that he's leaving. Most of the time, I would be. I'd say just stick it out, do what you had to. I mean, guys like, you don't see guys like Barry Sanders. He had 1 year where he got, to the playoffs, this and that. I mean, for the most part, he was just carrying that team on his back. He did it as a Detroit Lion. Love him, praise him. That's why, in my opinion, he's the greatest running back to ever play this game. For that reason, on top of his stats, no many other things. I don't want to get too far off topic with that. That's a conversation we can have for another day. But for Saquon, for me, it's like, where are the Giants front office doing anything to help this team get better? The Giants have not been good in how long? Yes, I get it. They made the playoffs a couple of years ago with Danny Dimes, this and that. I've been a fan of Danny Dimes, but obviously it doesn't look like he's going to pan out to be that guy. But where's the loyalty for the Giants to get this guy more help, to get this team where it needs to be? The Giants have not been good in how long, and now you're going to be mad because this guy went somewhere to better himself? I'm sure all these teams had a chance to go after him. Philadelphia was the best fit for him. He did what was best for him. Okay? But where's the Giants at? Where's that loyalty to Saquon to get him the people around him to get this team better? Where's that?
Well, and this too, but I mean, and this applies to all sports. It's loyalty within the organizations, but where, and again, I've had my reservations about fans and how they go about buying into things and what they're guilty of. But from an ownership standpoint, where's your loyalty to the fans that put out the $80-$90 per game for a regular season game? We're not talking playoffs. We're talking, but you make no efforts to improve your product at all. In part because you've got a product that sells, so you're not obviously interested. You're not invested in winning. You're not, because if you like, and I'll use the Rockies as an example. I mean, here's a group. Here's a group that good and well the number of losses you had last year for the entire season. Yet, what did you do in the offseason to improve the team? You did nothing, basically.
Nothing. You know why they did nothing? Because they just gave up a 14-run inning on opening day to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
14-run inning. Are you kidding me?
You are projected to use more pitchers this season, a total number of pitchers, than any other team in the history of baseball right now. This is where the Rockies are at. Not only that, but again, you're coming off a season where you lost as many games as you did. Your pitching staff is considered to be one of the worst. Your entire rotation is considered to be one of the worst in baseball. Where was the effort to do anything with this in the offseason? Because you didn't have to. And again, in part because the fans won't challenge it, but the owners, if you're truly invested and you're talking about how much you care about the product, then where's the effort to make the team better? Much back to your point about the Giants, but I mean, you're not giving this guy anybody to play with. You let his best running back just go. And Saquon had stated, he did it several times, that he was willing to work within the parameters of the contract. Get me back in here. I'm willing to stay.
Yeah.
But you're not doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And athletes are just as guilty here. We've talked about this. There's no loyalty, like your whole segment is about. It's owners. It's players. It's everything.
Exactly.
Where's the loyalty?
Exactly. And then, for me, the next point is I've talked about Saquon. I talked about, like, the ownership, this, that. Now my next point is the loyalty as far as a player. So, like, somebody like, a perfect example I want to bring up is, like, a Shohei Ohtani, right? Why could this guy decide to go to a team like the Dodgers? Now, I get it. You may have not enjoyed your time, with the Angels or whatever. Obviously they didn't look like they were on their way up. But at that point, in my thoughts is, why go to a team like the Dodgers? Or why does everybody decide and think, oh, I need to go play for the Yankees. I need to go play with whoever's got the most money. And the other thing that pissed me off is they think that they're going to go and win all these championships. When has this actually worked out? Because I don't know recently, with all these moves that the Yankees made recently, I don't think, that when's the last time the Yankees won a World Series, honestly? I can't remember. It's been a while, right? And they had all these money going and getting Stanton. They went and got LeMahieu at one point. I mean, they paid to go get all these guys, right?
Year.
They're supposed to win it every year.
Yeah, that's a good point, but yeah, exactly.
And they never do. Same thing with the Dodgers. Dodgers go and get all these players and they don't win it.
No.
You know what I mean? So the thing for me is I think a lot of these players, it's just money first, which is so annoying for that. That's where that loyalty, who's going to give me the most money, instead of looking at where can I be the most help to a different team. You know what I mean? The Dodgers did not need help from Shohei Ohtani.
No.
They were already good with whatever they were going in this year. Why did they need Shohei? They don't need him. The Angels, the perfect example. Mike Trout is still with the Angels. He's still with the Angels. The guy has not left, but Shohei's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but Mike Trout was the best player in baseball for 5-6 years in a row. And the guy still never left the Angels. I don't even think, Trout's made the playoffs, maybe twice in his career?
Well.
Once?
Well, and look at the Vikings, Bud. I mean, Jefferson was looking to come back, negotiate a new contract with the Vikings in part because he thought Kurt was going to still be on the team.
And now he's gone.
And now Jefferson is having reservations about committing to that contract, in part because you're blowing my mind here. I mean, the Vikings over the last, you went from being a playoff team to now basically being a lottery freaking team because you just don't care about what you have to offer as a product. Exactly. And all you talk about is, and we want to talk about a team that doesn't care. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. You did nothing in free agency, nothing. And all you stated in the offseason, Jerry Jones, was no, we're all in. We're all in. This is it. We learned from last season. We're all in. All in on what? Standing pat and giving, you're giving, your quarterback $90 million or whatever. This is ridiculous. Dak isn't worth this. But you're not doing anything to commit to actual improvement, to getting to that next step. But that's all you talk about. There's no loyalty here. There's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think. I mean, the Cowboys don't have a running back right now.
None.
They got Deuce Vaughn, and I can't remember who the other one is on their roster right now.
Exactly. There's the whole point.
Because Pollard's gone now.
Who it is.
So they got Deuce Vaughn. That's probably going to be their main back. That got worse in that sense at the running back. I mean, I'm a Dak fan, so I can't really say too much about him. I think Dak can do the job. The defense didn't get better, even though the defense was good. The Cowboys' defense was good. They were steady for the whole season. They were fine, but they could get better.
Yeah.
There was players out there that could have got better with. You know what I mean? And they just have absolutely decided to not do anything. And I agree with you. I don't understand that. And like I said, that goes part to it too. It just seems like everything nowadays, and I get it. Even, they said it before in the past. This is a business. Everybody knows that. But it wasn't that kind of business. It wasn't go find wherever you can make the most money. Don't really care if you win. It almost feels like these guys don't really care if they win anymore. It's about the real champion is who gets the biggest contract nowadays. Yeah. It's not the rings on the fingers anymore. It's how much money's in my bank account. Who's got the highest? Because that's what it always is, right? Somebody gets paid as a running back, so like that. Oh, I had better stats than him next year. I should be the next best paid running back. I had better stats than this quarterback. I should be the highest paid quarterback this year. Whatever. This way, like we said, you brought up Kirk Cousins. Perfect example. Kirk Cousins making how much money?
Oh, it's insane. Over $100 million.
And to never be in a championship game or a Super Bowl in his career, and he makes millions and millions of dollars. Now, I'm not hating on Cousins one bit. I do like Cousins a lot. Cousins, I'm a fan of Kirk Cousins, but I'm just saying, all that money, and I'm sorry, but you're not that successful. This guy's making out like a bad. He's basically robbing the NFL of money, in my opinion.
Well, exactly, bud, and look at what happened with Kansas City. I mean, you as an organization, you've won Super Bowls now, Super Bowls. Yeah. Your own players are complaining because, and this is two sides. This kind of goes back to something you talked about a couple weeks ago. As to how what they have available to them. And if you don't like it, well, then go change it yourself because you got the money. But here's the other part of this too. You've got an organization that the players are upset because their locker area isn't up to speed. You've got an owner saying, I never agreed to this in the first place. Your ownership group gets an F from the players because that's how little they think of it. And the owner's saying, well, we couldn't have done it anyway because we didn't have time because guess what? You won the Super Bowl. You guys are going deep into the playoffs so whatever. I mean, whatever story is what. But this is how petty all this is becoming, is that successful organizations, you can't even satisfy anybody anymore. Nothing is acceptable. It's always got to be more.
Oh, I agree. I
You
agree.
know?
And you know, the thing is, like you said, it's a different time frame. It's a different era now that they play in. These guys are obviously paid, but obviously there's always, but we have been around. I mentioned guys like Barry Sanders that has stuck around. And we supposed to, Alway stuck around with Denver.
Yeah.
And
You
even
know,
though they were good and they still got to Super Bowls and stuff, they didn't win them. I mean, they were getting killed though. I mean, it was real easy for him to give up and be like, man, I'm just getting destroyed in Super Bowls. I need to go somewhere else where I could try to win. No, he stuck it out here. Other sports like even baseball. I remember Ken Griffey Jr. saying that if the Yankees were the last team to give him a contract, he would just retire.
yeah.
Like that's loyal. That's just something to say. I don't need to go out there and do that. I
But
can do what his and that's the guy. Definitely Ken Griffey Jr. is a guy where his numbers can definitely speak for himself
yeah,
on both ends of the field,
yeah.
at bat and in the field with his glove. That guy was a true baseball player. Someone like a Chipper Jones. Those guys, Todd Helton. They stuck. Todd Helton's a perfect example. I mean, he at least he got to a World Series. I mean, he could say he at least made it to one. There's not, but he went through a lot of ups and downs with those Colorado Rockies teams. I mean, playoffs here and there, but then to just being worst team in the league. I mean, he went through a lot. Like I said, ups and downs. I'm glad he got to be in a World Series,
Yeah.
but to play 17 seasons, I believe is what it was and it was all with the Rockies.
Yeah.
You don't
Because
see
they
that.
want they obviously they enjoy the franchise that they're associated with, but they're also about trying to help that organization improve and reach that ultimate goal. But when's the last, and maybe you can speak on this a little bit more than I can. Name for me the last big name NBA player that spent their entire career
Oh
with
Dirk.
Yeah, see, but
Dirk
how
and
far back
Tim.
does that go? That
Well,
goes back a
Dirk's
few years.
just recently, right? Didn't Dirk just maybe retired within the last 5 years or so?
But see
Didn't
what I'm
he? I
saying though? I
believe.
mean, but for every Dirk,
Well,
there's
but you got to think though too. I mean, for the last 5 years, that's pretty decent. Because these guys are now just coming into the league. Some of these
but
new
they
guys, but I mean, you got to think. Well, but perfect. What Jokic has been with Denver for like almost 10 years, hasn't he?
No, I'm
8 years.
talking about, but I'm looking at guys that have officially retired. We could look at Steph Curry and say it looks like he's going to be a lifer with
Oh,
State.
Steph's gonna be.
You know what I'm saying?
Steph's easily gonna be Golden State, I believe. But I would say the last one,
I
the
thought
most recent, would probably be him or Duncan.
I
Well,
thought Dan
Duncan's
was going to spend his entire career with Portland, and that did pay.
actually. You know what? Perfect. Actually, no. You know what? Udonis Haslam still playing, and he's with Miami still. He's
Yes,
been with Miami his whole career.
and these guys potentially will finish their careers. Like with Joker and that type of thing, and Curry. These guys have the potential to wrap up their careers. With the same organization, but.
Yeah.
But again, it's back to the loyalty thing, bud. It's not about going to a place to win. It's about going to a place to collect a check.
Exactly.
For most of these guys, that's what it is. And I'm sorry, that can't be what it's about. And this steps outside that box a little bit. But back to your point about the Dodgers and the Yankees, how do you balance a league when you've dropped over $1 billion on two players? How do you even build a competitive roster when you've got $1 billion invested in two guys? It's not feasible. And
Yeah.
obviously they don't care. You
No,
can't
they
make it
don't.
work like that.
I
It's
agree.
frustrating, but because like you said, what's the caveat to that? But then, people that are true fans of sports, yourself, me, your dad, that type of thing, you begin to slowly lose interest because
Yeah.
nothing changes.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. Well, let us know, guys, in the chat too, how you guys feel about this. Let us know. Are you guys more for on the player side that you're good with them getting the money that they deserve now, or do you guys like that kind of old school loyalty where you'd like to see some players kind of stick it out with the teams that they're in? And like you said, Mike, there's a few players that I'm kind of interested to see if they continue their careers. You had mentioned Steph. I think he should be a lifer. Other people that are kind of younger,
And even
like I
Clay
wonder.
could end up doing it.
Well, yeah, Clay was
Could.
another one. Draymond obviously is another one on that team. But the one I'm kind of looking forward to, I wonder if Jokic will stick out with Denver for one. I also want to know if Giannis and Embiid
Yeah.
will stick out with that. I wonder if Embiid will be a Sixer for life, and if Giannis will be a Buck for life. Those are the kind of the three for sure. Jokic,
And
Embiid, and Giannis. And actually, sorry, Doncic too. I'm kind of wondering if Doncic will be a Maverick. I think out of those four though, if I had to pick one, I think Doncic will be the one that's going to kind of maybe leave
I don't know
before
about
the other three. But
that.
but obviously it depends on how their teams go, how the things kind of work out, this and that.
Real quick,
Excuse me.
So Embiid, I could easily see leaving because what does this organization do to show him that they're invested in winning? They either guys walk or they just don't care and they discard them. So
Yeah,
Embiid's
trust the
sitting there saying,
process.
"What am I supposed to do with all this then?"
Just trust the process.
Yeah, the Broncos can speak on that one.
Well, yeah, so obviously, guys, this was great. Like I said, let us know in the chat what you guys thought about our beefs of the week. Let us know how you feel about the cell phone things, too. Let us know, like I said, how you guys feel about the loyalty thing also. But, all right, moving on, though, here, guys, we are going to get into, you know what time it is. It is time. All right, so our top 10 today, we are doing our top 10 outdoor events, things, whatever you want to call them. Whatever you guys do outside of the house, outdoors, whatever it could be, that's what we're talking about as our top 10 today. So first we're gonna get into this. For me, looking at my list, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I'm more of a summer, spring type of person, being outdoors. I'm not the type to be outdoors like in the wintertime. I'm not a skier, and it does suck to say that because I live in Colorado. To say I'm not a skier or snow, I'm into snowboarding or sledding and anything like that. It's just I'm not. I don't dig the snow or the cold as much as as a lot of people that live here, stuff like that, which is funny to say, but I'm more of an outdoor person. So like number 10 for me, and this is something that we love doing just growing up, or we've done it even at the age we're doing, but it's water fights. I enjoy getting just into like balloon fight, like the water balloon fights, and just type of water fights where we're like out in a barbecue, or we've done like what we've called recently, we've done like an adult field day where we'll play like just games where like kickball, volleyball, this and that. And just everybody, whoever wins, you get certain beads and stuff, and whoever has the most beads, you leave with a trophy and all this and that. Right, cool. But we always end up with a big old water. Everybody, we have like a big old tub full of just, excuse me, of water balloons and stuff like that. And obviously, because we do it right almost closer to the middle of summer type stuff, so it's always hot out there. We'll just get in a big water fight. But that's just something that's just always been fun to do. It's come summertime.
Yeah, I had a couple of water fights in my time too, but you blow up the balloons a little bit, fill up with a little bit of water. You hope somebody that's throwing it at you doesn't throw it too hard.
Yeah, because some of those don't break.
But it also stings when it hits, so you got to be
careful.
Yeah,
exactly.
But you also, if you're good, you learn how to dodge pretty well too. So but it's pretty cool. It's a great summertime thing to do, especially when you were a kid. Get out there, it's hot. Why not get a little bit wet, bust some balloons, that type of thing. Pretty good activity. Just kick back and relax and have a good time.
Definitely.
I like that.
And what was your number 10, Mike?
My number 10, Bud, it's a little two-sided. Now, folks, I have fishing at 10, and when I was growing up, I fished quite a bit. As I got older, kind of drifted away from that. Not my biggest, hobby, so to speak. But growing up did a lot of fishing. But the reason I did it, and a lot of my memories that I have of fishing, involve me and my dad, and going out and doing that type of thing. My dad was an avid fisherman, very good at it, very good fly fisherman. And one of my best memories in life involved fishing. And real quick, my dad, my mom, and I were on a summer vacation. We were up in Canada. My dad and I went out fishing one morning. My mom stayed in. We're driving down this road. We're just looking for places to fish, right? This wasn't planned. Like, let's go to this place. Driving down the road, look off to the right. Here's this little lake sitting there. Had a little dock, little boat attached. I mean, this is like a Norman Rockwell. You couldn't have painted a picture that was more Norman Rockwell than this, right? So we pull over. My dad gets out. And I had not fished before. This is my very first time fishing. We get out there. My dad gets his stuff, throws out his line. He hooks me up, gets me out, throws it out there. We're sitting there for a little bit, and I'm sitting there, and I feel something hit the line, right? And it just starts racing, and I freak out. I've never done this before, and I freak out. I drop the pole. I dropped the ball on the dock. and slowly, this fish is running, right? And so the pole is, I'm about halfway up the dock, and the pole was starting to slide down the dock. And my dad says, you need to grab that pole. And I said, I'm not grabbing it. I'm freaking out. I don't know why, folks. I don't know why it scared the life out of me, but it did. My dad said, pick up the pole. I'm not going to let you just let that pole go in the water. Now pick it up. I refused. He said, I'm going to tell you one more time, pick up the pole. He was getting mad. So I picked up the pole. He says, all right, now pull up on the rod and start reeling it in. So I started doing that, right? And I'm not kidding, but it's like American sportsmen. The fish starts jumping out of the water, hits the boat that was next to the dock. It's all this crazy stuff you see on Wild World of Sports type of thing. And finally, I get the fish in, and it's a trout. And it was a good-sized trout, right?
Yeah.
We took it back to the restaurant at the hotel we were staying at, and the chef was good enough. My dad explained the situation, my first fish. So the chef was good enough to prepare the fish for me. Brought it out, so nice. I had the fish, right? Years later, and to make the long story just a tad bit longer, but years later, I'm talking to my dad. I don't know how it came up. I said, hey, Dad, I said, you remember that time that we were up in Canada and we did that fishing for the first time where you took me out? And he says, yeah. I said, okay, you remember the rod going out and you're just going to let it go? He says, yeah, I sure do. I said, I was always curious. Why? I expected you to pick it up. Why wouldn't you pick it up? He said, if I had picked it up, I would have cheated you out of a moment you would never forget. And that's why I had to insist on making you pick it up, because I knew you would never forget it. And I didn't. Yeah. And that's the beauty of a parent. They just have this insight about things. And he was right. If he had picked it up, it wouldn't have been the same thing. So to this day, and I was 7 years old.
Oh, that's great.
And so he was right. He said, that's why I insisted on you picking it up, because I knew you would remember it for the rest of your life. And I was like, wow.
Nice. No, that's great. That's a great story. I mean, honestly, for me, I don't fish a lot. I mean, the most fishing I ever did, I remember back in the day, I went with, at the time it was my sister's boyfriend and her dad. They had a moving company. And I went to go help them do some moving and stuff like that. One weekend and stuff, they were kind of up in we were up in Aspen area or something like that. And so they knew of a nice area to pull off and do some fishing, in one of the rivers or the creeks down there, and they pulled off. They knew exactly where to go and went there. That's actually the first time I ever caught a fish, was there.
No kidding.
I caught actually 2 or 3 of them with them, which was actually pretty cool and stuff like that. But
did you keep?
Yeah, I don't. No, we threw them back in. It wasn't
anything that
kept or anything. Yeah, but it was actually pretty cool. It was actually pretty fun. Like I said, I would like to do it maybe a little bit more, but fishing for me, I just never been a big part of. I never, because obviously growing up, we didn't do. You know us growing up, we weren't the camping and going out type. I mean, we were sports. Everything was sports related with us. I mean, we had my sister's softball tournaments. I got basketball or baseball tournament. We were the sports. Growing up, we weren't the camping type or anything like that. My parents weren't big into it either or anything like that. So, but fishing is just it is kind of just more relaxing, kind of fun thing to just kind of chill out to be and stuff like that. But no, that's a good one, Mike, and that's a great story I absolutely love that story for sure on that one. So, moving on, number 9 for me, kind of one that just kind of recently popped up, and I know we kind of talked about it. That I started doing this a little bit more because I was a little sore in one of the last podcasts we did. Because I started golfing a little bit more and stuff like that, and I just can't express enough how relaxing it really is to golf. Honestly, I think it's just so fun to be out on the golf course and just enjoy it. Especially if you're on a beautiful golf course. That's the other thing about it. If you're on some real nice course and you're out there and it's a nice, summer day. You got the sun coming out. It's just beautiful fairways, greens, all this type of stuff. And you're just riding the car. You're just kind of just enjoying the scenery, everything around it. For me, there's just something about being on a golf course that just is real relaxing to me.
Yeah, it's almost like a park experience, but I mean, it really is. I remember the first time, kind of like yourself, the first time I had an opportunity to step out on an actual golf course, me and some buddies, and it was almost like surreal. And it was a nice course. It wasn't it's not Augusta, obviously, but it was a nice course. And we did a full 18. And I just, and we were fortunate because it was a weekday, so we didn't have the crowds pushing us to keep, gotta hurry, gotta keep moving ahead so you don't hold up the group behind you. And I can just remember what it was like to get out there and drive down that first fairway, and then you get up on your first green, and I finished like 800 over par, but I didn't care.
It doesn't matter.
No, exactly.
It doesn't matter. And like you said, I remember golfing in high school, and we had a tournament in Elizabeth. Man, that course was really, really nice down there in Elizabeth. I mean, it's one of those too where it looks intimidating though because you got a lot more trees. There's a lot more kind of mountain areas around there to kind of hit around. So it's intimidating because you're like, man, if I walk in there, I'm losing my ball for sure. But like I said, for me, it wasn't about that if I was good or not. It was just the fact of being out there. And we all know, like, watching the sport and stuff and seeing it, just how expensive it can be. So to be able to get it for free, doing it during school, learning a new sport at that too, and just enjoying it. It's just something about being out there, like I said, that's just pretty relaxing to me myself.
Yeah, exactly. And on that same outing, my first time out on the golf course, we got to 18. I can't remember the course, but we got to 18, and there were four of us. I went last. So nobody told me. I didn't pay attention, I guess. So I tee off from the women's tee.
Oh.
So I launched. This is a par three, right? I launched this shot. It goes over the green, and in the parking lot. The parking lot was on the other side of the 18.
Man.
There's that big metal where you go into the locker rooms and stuff like that. So, and I launched this ball, and I really tried to chip it on because I knew it was a par three, but I hit it too hard. Ball goes sailing. You hear it bounce on top of the metal roof of the lockers and stuff like that, and it lands in the parking lot. And I was just like, this is like Caddyshack moment. But I couldn't have had a better time. You laugh about the things you don't do right, but you appreciate the things you do semi-right. It was just a great time. That's an awesome one to bring up, but that's great.
For sure. What did you have at number 9?
At number 9, I had, folks, and I haven't done this a lot. Lorraine and I keep talking about doing it, just getting out on the bicycles and getting out there and getting some exercise. You're getting older. You can't do marathons and Ironman competitions as you get older. So you start looking at those activities that are going to be a little bit less demanding. Let's go for a walk. Let's get on the bicycle. That type of thing. But, I don't know. There's something about bicycles that are just kind of cool sometimes. You get out there, depending on where you're at, you get away from the traffic. You take some bike trails, go through some woods and things like that, and just kick back and enjoy your time out there. I remember one time when I was a kid, we biked. I had a 10-speed, me and some buddies. We biked from Denver. We biked from Denver to Red Rocks.
Wow. And
that was a mistake. So I felt that one the next day, but you had a great time getting out there, just into the hills. You know what Red Rocks is like and how pretty it is and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's just it's just good. You put the phone on silent. Just have some quiet. Get out there and just enjoy what the being on the bicycle has to offer. And it's cheap.
Yeah.
Unless you're getting like a mountain bike or something, if it just get you a cheap bicycle, get out there and just go ride, folks. I mean, it's a great thing to do, and it's a cool little couples thing, family thing to do.
Yeah. No, I agree. It didn't make my my list on that one this time, but obviously I remember doing a lot of. I didn't do any like far bike riding. I didn't do like any like going on trails or anything like that, but I did a lot of just outside with friends, riding bikes up and down the block and things like that. Obviously, once I got to a certain age, I kind of just stopped doing it, which I kind of wish I didn't, because if you really think about it, like I said, if you can actually jump on a bicycle and ride around like we used to when we were kids and stuff, I mean, you can stay in some pretty good shape. Yeah, exactly. So good one to bring up for sure, though, Mike. I used to ride my bike all the time. I remember actually learning to ride a bike. I remember my sister and my god sister were the ones that actually were trying to teach me as much as they could to ride a bike. And
did you?
I remember they're trying to have me balance. They had me sitting on a fence, and they actually put they put one of the front wheels on the thing. But it was kind of cool because they put it in between. It was like one of those like the bar fences. So like the wheel would fit in. So if I started moving, it would kind of knock into the bar, so it would keep me up. But it was trying to teach me my balance. So like it would bounce. If I went too far this way, it would hit the bar and bounce the bike back this way. So it was trying to teach. The only bad part was the bike they were trying to teach me on was my mom's bike, and I was still young at the time, so like my feet didn't even touch the ground. So if I was gonna fall, I was going. Like I couldn't get my feet down. So I was like, please don't leave. I told them, you guys better not, because my feet don't touch the ground right now.
Yeah, it sounds like so it sounds kind of like the experience I had. But that first time you get out there, and I can remember taking the training wheels off. I think it was my dad taking the training wheels off, and it's like you're trying to do the two wheels, and it's like this thing you could never figure. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do this. I can't stay on my balance. You're falling down all over the place, but you just keep doing it. Eventually, you get it right. But for that first little bit, it's like, this is impossible. How does anybody stay up on two tires? I don't get this.
Yep, exactly. So moving on to me, my number 8 is something I'm not terrifically great at, but I absolutely love doing it. Is just going swimming. Absolutely love going swimming. Being in the water. My kids absolutely love it too. My wife too. We all love being in the water. It's just so much fun. Even Nolan, even though he's got his trach and everything like that, we've taken him out to the pools and stuff, and he's been able to get in it, and he absolutely loves it. My daughter, she's been asking to already go. Now I'm like, man, she was asking in the middle of winter. She's like, can we go swimming somewhere? I'm like, it's winter time. Where are we going to go swimming at right now? She's like, we can go indoors. I'm like, yeah, so we can walk outside and catch pneumonia. Oh, my God. But yeah, we absolutely love it. I mean, like I said, I am by far not a great swimmer. I mean, I try to stick to at least anywhere that my feet can at least touch or anything. But that's another thing for me. Just being able to sit in that water, just relaxing and stuff like that is fun to me. I enjoy that. I love just sitting there and just sitting in the water, getting in, enjoying it, just feeling that. So it's just almost the same thing as golfing. Just getting out there, enjoying some heat with some nice, cool water on yourself. That's just fun. It's fun to me.
Yeah, and it's literally one of the absolute best overall exercises anybody from head to toe ever do. But it actually is.
That's why every time you go out swimming, right, that by the afternoon or when that nighttime comes, you're done. You're ready for bed because it takes a lot out of you.
My dad was in the service, so he was out of the country quite a bit. My mom, I assume they got together on collectively just to make sure, but they had me at 5. Being taught how to swim, right? Swimming instructions. But we also, I grew up at the beach. I was 15 miles from the beach in Wilmington. And so we were out there in the summertime as much as we could be. And I told you the story about the Jaws and all that stuff. But so I swimming pools is one thing. Swimming in the ocean is a no-go, the rest of my life. But anyway,
me too.
But because of those instructions, by the time I was 7 and things like that, I could go about a mile out into the ocean. I could swim, but I didn't think anything about what was out there, anything like that. But I could swim out there. I remember being out there one time, and I'd swim out from where everybody was at. I was out close to the pier, and I was swimming. And I thought, okay, well, it's time for me to start swimming back in. So I start swimming back in, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm not making any distance, right? And so I keep trying. I'm not like going full blown, stroking out, but I just realized I'm not getting anywhere. And I'm like, what the crap is going on? And this just goes on, bud. And I'm going further out. I'm further out than I was when I started. And I'm like, what the crap? So for whatever reason, I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to try to swim back towards where my relatives and everything are at, right? Mm-hmm. But I swam about maybe 5 yards, 7 yards, in a clear sailing. Now I could swim back. I got caught in a riptide.
Oh,
because I got back and I was telling my mom, said, what happened? She says, you were in a riptide. I told you not to go that far. I got the lecture,
Yeah, I bet.
She says, you're in a riptide. You can't. This is why I told you, don't go out like that. Yeah, it was a riptide, bud. And riptides are very narrow. Yeah. But I literally could not make up any ground in that like little 10-yard stretch of water. So I just had to swim across.
I'd have been done.
Yeah, but it was crazy.
Gone.
Yeah.
I'd have been gone. Nope, I'd have been a goner. Not gonna happen.
I'll tell you what. If I had known about Jaws at that time, even that riptide wouldn't have stopped me.
You ain't lying about that.
Yeah, but swimming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I'm to those point. Like I said, I'm not a good swimmer whatsoever. To the point where I can get myself in and out or anything. But just being in the water is just something that just.
Do the kids already know? Do they know how to swim, or you just go out there with them?
No, we just usually go. I mean, the wife knows. she knows how to swim for sure.
Yeah.
But the kids, I mean, Aviana works on it. You know, my daughter, she's been trying to work with it every time she goes out.
Okay.
But I mean, it may be something that we try to teach them, or obviously the mom could teach them if they
Yeah,
need to,
exactly.
things like that. But yeah, I mean, but like I said, we all absolutely love the water, regardless, either way. All of us
It's
will
a
go
blast. Either way, indoors, outdoors, it's still a good time.
100%. So what do you got moving on? Actually, your next one is kind of interesting to me. I kind of want to know
Yeah,
where this one
so
comes from, because you've got some
there's
good stories so far with a lot of these.
there's two titles for this. There's two descriptions for this. So what I told Anthony folks was chasing fireflies, and in the South, this is basically something that you experience in the South, Mississippi, Alabama, Carolinas, things like that, Georgia. So they're not technically flies. They're little insects. They're also called lightning bugs. So literally, when I was a kid in the summertime, this is one of the things you did as a kid. It's an activity that's kind of cool to do. So you get these little insects, and their tails literally light up. They light up
Mm-hmm.
because they're trying to mate. And so when this is going on, I mean, and they fly low to the ground, waist high, head high, things like that. And at nighttime, this is when they come out. So you can always see them because the lightning bugs. So their tails light up because they're trying to mate. They're trying to attract, a mate. And you could do this for hours, folks. I mean, as a kid, anything will entertain you. I mean, anything. You can watch a bug cross the street, and if it's a cool looking bug, that'll entertain you for the evening time. But the lightning bugs, or as fireflies, as I say, a lot of times what the purpose was, you go around with a jar, you collect as many as you can, you put the little lid on, you punch holes in it, and then you carry it around like a lantern because these lightning bugs are going to light up. And so really, I mean, it was just a cool little thing to do. It was free, which is always a parent's dream, is to have your kids occupied with something that's free and doesn't cost any money. But you could do this all night, all summer, and it was just a cool little thing to do, folks. And they're just lightning bugs, or fireflies as they're technically called. But it's something that's in the South, but it's just a pretty cool little thing to do. And I still think about
Nice.
that, and I still
That's
here in
cool.
Mississippi.
That's
Here in
cool.
Mississippi, yeah, if you go out at night about here in Mississippi,
Yeah,
you'll
they
see
have
them
that
occasionally.
too.
You don't see large groups of them, but you see them every once in a while. And the very first thing I think of is back when I was a kid going out there chasing fireflies.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Well,
it
that's
is
really
very
cool
cool.
to have some. Obviously, I've never had a chance to do anything like that, or get a chance to see anything like that. So that's actually really, really cool, though, for something like that. In case we're ever, taking a trip down there, maybe that's something for the kids to do,
Oh
or
yeah, they'd
something
have
like
a
that. It's
blast,
cool.
but they would have a blast. No one would just actually. Ambiana would love it too. It's a cool little thing.
Yeah. Some we'll keep an eye on, and some we'll do, maybe if we ever get in down to that area for sure. Moving on. Me actually, my next one is just kind of a little bit awkward, but it's just getting in the car and just taking a drive.
Oh man.
Just being able to just drive, just take a nice drive, and it's actually funny. So we used to do this thing, um, back in basically maybe a couple of years or so after high school or something like that. Me, my friend Nesto, we'd have a couple other friends maybe with us. And we would just basically, I'd call it, what I called it was, let's just go on an adventure.
Mm.
And I would pick everybody up in the car, and there may be like four of us or something in the car, and we just drive. And then I would just pick somebody that's in the car, and I'd just be like, left or right? And they'd be like, right. And we just turn right, just drive. Left or right, left, right, and we just drive. We didn't know where we'd end up. One time I think we ended up maybe in the mountains at one time. Maybe we ended up just like up in like Loveland or something. Well, we would just take drives, and just for the hell of it, just at night or just in the middle of the day, we would just get in the car, and like I said, I call it, let's just go on an adventure, and we would just drive and have fun. And there's just nothing like, and at the time, I had a nice vehicle. I had a Mustang at the time. I had a system in it, so it was just nothing like just driving, throwing on some good music, having the system bumping, and just having a good time with good people, just driving around. It was just fun. Now, granted, this was back, guys, when gas was affordable. You could drive around for a little bit. You used to do stuff like that. But the other thing, I mean,
But you
by
didn't
taking a
care.
drive. But do you remember, Mike? Do you remember? This was a long time. But do you remember the Sundays on Federal?
No.
It was cruising on Federal too. That
Yeah.
was at times you would get a little bit
Colfax, too.
hectic or something. Colfax was at the time for me. I wasn't around when they did it on the Colfax ones. I was always Feds. But that used to be fun. It was actually pretty fun doing that sometimes. You would have nights where you go out there, and everybody was just out enjoying and having fun. And the cool part about it was because we did it on a Sunday night. And it was like before going back to work or to school, and everybody was just kind of enjoying bringing out their cars, their nice vehicles, they're just having fun, just sitting outside of the car wash or out down by the stadium, whatever. It's just driving around. It was just a chill summer night, which is everybody out and just having fun.
Guys,
And I just love doing that.
Guys meeting girls, girls meeting guys. I mean, it's
Yeah.
sometimes you meet somebody, you go out with them, whatever. But it was just a cool little thing to do. Totally with you on that. But I didn't have it on my list. I'm surprised that I didn't, because actually you hit on something that, for me personally, growing up and once I started driving, and I don't know if I even told you this, but one of my biggest things in life for me sometimes, if life is getting to me, and even if it wasn't, is just to get in my car and just go. And I just go, right?
Yeah.
And something about like driving and sometimes being just, nobody knows where I'm at. They don't know who I am per se, because I don't know anybody where I'm at. I'm just out driving. I just go.
Yeah.
Just take the road and
Yeah.
go. I would drive
Exactly.
Lyman.
Yeah.
Lyman, Colorado, just for the drive. Lorraine and I did that too. We just go for the drive. And that's just the kind of thing you did. I remember, the very first time I took a drive across country, right? And I did the very first time I took a drive across country by myself, just going back east to visit the relatives and stuff like that. I told my, and I asked my dad this one time when I was a kid, and before I could drive, right? And my dad would do the same thing. He'd just go down a road like you're talking about, bud. Let's just go see where it goes. And I told my dad one time, I said, okay, but Dad, I mean, what if this road, what if it just winds up going nowhere? He said, what if it dead ends or whatever? He says, okay, so if it's not working out the way you want it to, just turn around and go back, because you know where the road came from. So you're never going to get lost if you know where you came from. And I always remembered that. So when I finally took that vacation and I took my first one across country, basically half the country, I thought, man, even if I take a wrong turn, it's got to lead somewhere. And if it doesn't, I'll just turn around and go back, because all roads go back to somewhere. And if they don't, they lead someplace else. It was just cool. I love driving. Was therapeutic for me. That's an awesome one, but an awesome one.
For sure. Definitely, for sure. What's next on your list then?
I don't know if you have it on your list. I know you can relate, because I've heard you talk about it with the family.
You know what? I'll tell you what. One of the cheergraphs to talk about, and I'm going to say, so everybody knows, it's 2 on my list, and there's only reason because my number 1, you'll understand why I put it, which one it is, when we get to it. But I'll tell you what, this one, and I'll let you get it because this one's yours, but where you have it on your list. But I absolutely love going here. Absolutely. I'm a kid when it comes to this.
Yeah, folks. So for mine is the zoo, and I say the zoo because whether it's the Denver Zoo or it's the zoo here in Memphis, they're outstanding zoos. And Anthony can speak on Denver as well, and he will here shortly. The Denver Zoo is just a great time. The zoos in Denver and the zoos here, they have free days where at least I think the zoos in Denver still have free days, right, bud?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so if sometimes it works out for families, they can go and they can have a free day and just hang out and spend good family time together. You're seeing a lot of animals that you would never see anywhere else. You just wouldn't. And it's relaxing.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like Anthony said. You kind of drift back into being a kid, because we all did it as kids.
Absolutely.
And guess what? The feeling doesn't change, or at least it didn't change for me. It hasn't changed for my wife. I don't think it's changed for Anthony and his family. You don't grow out of it. Zoos are zoos, never. And they're just a cool little thing to do.
Like I said, I am literally a kid when it comes to the zoo. I'm all for it. I mean, it doesn't matter if somebody tells me, "Hey, you want to go to the zoo today?" Absolutely. I am getting in that car. I'm saying kids are going. If the kids don't want to go, they don't have to go either. I'll go by myself. I don't care. That's how much I love the zoo. I will go by myself to the zoo because I absolutely love it that much. And part of it is because it's not only just about how fun, relaxing it is there, or just cool, but I'm also big on animals. I absolutely love animals. I mean, I have a dog, I have a cat myself, but just animals in general. I love seeing animals. I love seeing the bigger animals. I love seeing what they could do in their habitat. Things like that. I mean, one of these days I would absolutely love to try to get a trip maybe to like a different country or something to, like maybe Africa or something, to those deserts where they give you those tours and stuff to see them in their natural habitats, how they actually do inside of there, not just behind a glass window and stuff like that. That's something like on a bucket list of mine to go and do something like that. But yeah, absolutely love this one, Mike. It is 2 on my list. The zoo is so much fun. Like I said, you were talking about the free days and stuff. We try to avoid the free days some days because it just gets, unless you're there, unless you can get there. Yeah, first one there early in the morning type stuff. I mean, it can get pretty out of hand. But we last year actually had a membership to the Denver Zoo, which was actually pretty cool because when you have that membership, you're actually able to get in extra early before everybody else, like a members only type thing where you get in like an hour before everybody else. So you have the zoo basically to yourself with any other members that want to be there though for like the first hour alone, which is enough time to almost cover half of the zoo in a way. Well, maybe not half because that zoo is pretty big. The Denver Zoo is pretty big. I don't know about the. See, that's the other thing is for me. I've only been to the Denver Zoo. I haven't been to any other ones. But I do really want to get to the San Diego one, the Cheyenne one. Those are the 2 big ones that I definitely want to try to get to sometime in my lifetime, and I'm sure I will. It'll come later on, but absolutely love the Denver Zoo. Absolutely love it. Like I said, if I'm asked to go, I mean, unless something crazy is going on, we had other plans. I mean, we're there. We're there. It's not something that I pass up very very often.
Yeah, and one of the things that they do here in Memphis that's pretty cool is I don't know about the weekends per se because that's a different story, I think, but during the week, and it's basically year round. So, but anytime after, and I think it closes at 5. It's like 9 to 5 or something like that. But anyway, after 2 o'clock, it's free.
Oh,
So
okay,
for
okay.
3 hours, I mean, and typically, obviously, that's when the kids are out of school. So if you're a parent, you can still, you're not going to see everything, obviously, but still,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
free. At least 5 days a week. You can go and for a couple hours, you can go hang out and go see a couple of things, couple of exhibits, whatever. And it's just a cool little
It
experience.
is cool. And
You know,
the other thing I love is I love when they do the shows for like the elephant shows and things like that, or they'll do like the bird shows, or they'll just have like a random instructor there with maybe like a turtle of some sort or a spider, and they sit there with the microphone on, and they're just like, hey, what kind of questions do you have, or this is what this one is, and they just give you so much knowledge. Like all these
yeah,
people have so many knowledge about all these animals and what they do and how they act and things like that. And it's cool because that's the other thing is to watch the kids. That's the fun part, to watch the kids. They're so intrigued by it because they're like, oh my god, what is this animal, and then they go and ask these questions, and they're learning at the same time.
yep,
So it's not just there because you just want to get out of the house and do something. Your kids are also learning things. Hey, my kids love asking every time, what is this animal? What is that? And sometimes, obviously, and sometimes you got to go straight to the board, right? And read what the heck is it? It's a yak.
yeah,
That's what
exactly,
it is. It's a yak.
yeah. And some people
But
can't
I
even
mean,
pronounce what
and we
is.
all have our favorite animals that we. I mean, no matter what, we have to see the elephants every time we go. The elephants are the big things for us. My daughter absolutely loves the elephants. So does Nolan. He loves the elephants too. So that's one thing we definitely always have to see is the elephants. But you know how it is. Everybody has to see some sort of an animal at some point. For me, I love to try to at least get to see the tiger if it's available and stuff like that, and then also the bald eagle that's always there in Denver. That bald eagle there is pretty. He's huge, man.
Oh,
He
no,
is
they're
big
crazy big.
and beautiful, beautiful though,
Yeah,
beautiful looking creature. But he's
and
just huge.
yeah, and whether you're 5 or you're 55 or 75, how can you not like smile when you see penguins walking? How
Right?
can you not smile at that? Or if you watch seals in the
Exactly.
water and they're swimming around and they're playing with each other and they're knocking the ball here, they're knocking the ball there,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Exactly.
There's something there. It really is. It's kind of cliche, but there's something at the zoo for all ages.
Yeah. Oh,
There
for
really is,
sure.
folks.
100%. 100%. Well, keep moving on with the list. I mean, I can go on, like I said, about the zoo
Oh,
for
sure.
hours and hours and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. It makes me want to go, but we'll keep moving on here. My next one, it's kind of funny. It's kind of ties into in a way, of what I did for my number 7. But instead of taking a drive, just go down and go for a walk.
Yep.
I mean, just a nice summertime walk. That summertime, 75-degree weather. You just go outside. You just go for a walk around, the
Time.
lake, to go into a park and just follow the trail or something like that around. things like that. You know, we have Sloan's Lake close to us. That's one that we walked around before. There's a few other ones around us. There's just nothing, like you said. It's just relaxing. It's fun. It's good exercise too. But there's just something about that summer nights where you can just get out there and enjoy. You don't have to worry about a jacket. You don't have to worry about being too cold, too hot. It's just a summertime walk is just always nice to just kind of get out and do.
Oh yeah, but like I mentioned earlier, I mean, and it literally can be. You get older, you know, your body, you know, there's certain things your body just it's basically your mind wants to do it, but your body is saying, no, let's be realistic here. Let's chill out a little bit. Let's tone it down a notch.
Yeah.
We're not going to run, you know, 4 miles. Why don't we walk 4 miles? You know, you'll get more out of it. You'll see more things. So let's go that route. But like I told you about, and if you and the family can get out here, there's a bridge that literally separates, you know, Tennessee from Arkansas. It's a walking bridge, right? And I think it's like 1.5 miles or something like that across. But, you know, and there's even a marker at the middle of the bridge. So you're now at what separates, you know, Tennessee from Arkansas. But it's the coolest little bridge. The trains run right next to it. So sometimes the trainers are going by. But it's just this cool little walk. You go over, you're in Arkansas, and then obviously you come back. But you get a great view of downtown Memphis and the Mississippi and all that stuff. And it's just,
that's cool.
Just a cool little thing. But then we take little walks around We take walks around little neighborhoods that we obviously can never afford to live in, and so hopefully they don't kick us out, you know. But we like to look at houses sometimes. We like to go into nature trails and do a little bit of walking there. But it's not taxing. Physically, it's not taxing. So you just go and relax. And like you said, Bud, what's better than a walk on a nice summer evening, breeze, a little bit of breeze, that type of thing? That's just freaking awesome. That's
sure.
A good one, a good one.
Definitely, for sure. Well, moving on to you, what do you have at number 6?
Well, folks, it's been a minute since I've sort of, you know, taken part in putt-putt, if you will. But putt-putt is just, it's a really cool, it's a sport. I mean, it's a sport. It's a little bit of, it may be considered more of an activity than an actual sport, but it can be competitive. So I guess I deem it a sport. But I think I've never known anybody that didn't like to play putt-putt. And I mean, we get a big kick out of it. Lorraine enjoys it. I enjoy it. It's a good family activity to get out.
I love it. I love putt-putt.
You know,
I didn't make my list, but I do love it. I think it is pretty fun to do. It's good for everybody. It's good for the whole family. It can. I ain't gonna lie though. Sometimes those courses, they can get under your skin a little bit though.
I could easily get started on this. I'm gonna tone it down. I've had my frustrations with the windmills and the clown's mouth and all this other stuff that goes on, and I really don't need it to be that challenging. I just want to be able to putt.
Just tell me you didn't pull some Happy Gilmore where you just knocked the nose off of him or anything like that.
No, but I'll tell you what. I told you this. And real quick, folks, I never realized the popularity of putt-putt at one point in time, but I'm scrolling through channels one night on ESPN at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, we all do this if we're just television people. You know, you're looking for something to watch, you can't sleep, whatever. I come across a channel, and all I see is the green, and I see the putter. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll watch this because it's a replay of some golfing tournament, so I guess I'll watch this for a few minutes. You got the announcer talking, you got the commentator, they're whispering. So you're doing that pan out of the shot where they're widening the screen. And I'm thinking, okay, so I don't know who it's going to be, which big name golfer this is, but okay, I'll check this out. And so all I hear is, and so I'm not really fully understanding this as they're describing it, but like the commentator's like, so Bob, what do you think you should do here? Well, Jim, and they're whispering at this. Well, Jim, I really think what he needs to do here is he's going to need, when he hits the ball, he's going to need to ricochet it off the sideboard, have it come back off the other board, and if everything plays out right, it's going to roll back towards the cup. And I'm really struggling to understand what the F is this guy talking about? What golfing tournament is this? What am I missing? They pan out, folks. This is putt-putt. This is a guy at a putt-putt course. And I'm like, and literally, they were talking about his previous shot to get to that point. He's like, yeah, and the way he maneuvered the windmill was beautiful. Did you really? There were galleries for this, but there were like 14 people standing around this, watching this, and I'm like, how is this even a thing? I didn't even know people did this competitively, and I just can't believe this is on. And this is putt-putt. And the winner ultimately got $50,000 for this, and I'm like, wow, I really did do things wrong in life. I could have been a professional.
You could have been a professional putt-putt.
Oh man, could you imagine? I get patches from like Budweiser to be on tour with the putt-putt. But putt-putt itself is a really cool game, folks. It's relatively cheap. I've never had a bad time at playing putt-putt. And it's just, I think it's a great family thing for everybody to get out and do it. And then guys, I really think if you take a girl out on a first date, maybe a second date, I think Bud would even agree. You can have a good time with that. I think the girl would have a good time. I really do think she would, and you'll have a good time too. And it's just a fun thing to do, and you both can share the frustrations of trying to play putt-putt and hitting the ball through the windmill or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's a great one, Mike, for sure. Everybody can enjoy getting out and doing a little bit of putt-putt.
Oh yeah.
That's great. Moving on to going into our top 5. We actually have the same one as our top 5. We both have, I believe, you have shooting hoops, right? That's
yes,
kind of
sir.
what you have. Same thing with me. You know, I do have it in my top 5. I mean, no, I've always been we've talked about this before, I've been a huge basketball fan. I haven't been huge as far as, like, so far watching it recently and stuff like that. We've shared how we felt about things like that. But still, there's just nothing better than just getting out and maybe getting a pickup game in or just going out and just kind of shooting around, just getting the ball up, just feeling good. I mean, it's just fun. Same thing. A lot of these stuff, like I said, fun, relaxing, just stuff you enjoy. That's what it is. That's what shooting hoops is. And like I said, if you get a good pickup game in with some folks, stuff like that, that's even better too. That's even fun, just to get out there and just play. And it's always nice to play outside too. Sometimes, except for when that wind. If that wind kicks up, man, I'm sorry, but I'm not one to try to figure out the wind on a basketball when I'm trying to shoot. All right, that's why I most likely would rather play indoors. But there is something cool about just playing outside at like a park or something like that too, you know.
But I know your dad, and I know he shared stories with you about that. I hope you guys had a chance to get out and do a little hoops together back in the day. But growing up, I had a basketball net and all that stuff in my backyard. My dad put up for me. And I was 13, 14, 15. And I'll tell you what, in the summertime, that's what I would be doing. I'm not kidding you, but I would go out there, and I had a dirt. This is not concrete. I mean, I like both, but the yard had dirt. I'd get out there at 9 o'clock in the morning, bud, and my thing was, and folks, this is just between you, me and Anthony, you guys, and my therapist, because he knows all this stuff. But I could get out there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and what I did, bud, is I'd have teams, right? And I'd play
Oh yeah.
on both teams.
Oh yeah.
5-on-5. I'm passing it. I'm the Hawks.
Oh,
you know, yeah. I'm Doc Rivers passing it to Dominique, but I'm fair. I was fair. I was always the Hawks, but I also played the Celtics. I played a 20-game season. This is how bad it was, folks. I mean, I'm having seasons, playoffs, all this stuff, but I'm out there from 9 in the morning to about dark, and I'm just having a good old time with this. And I mean, there was nothing better for me than to get out there and just shoot basket after basket after basket. I mean, free throws, all that stuff. Learning the three-point shots and just different parts of the court and that type of thing. And I could do it all day long. There was nothing better than getting out there and doing that. That was just the best time.
Yeah, no, actually, I remember the first time my dad got us a basketball hoop. That was one of the best days ever. It was so cool. I remember we went, got it, and had it. We filled it up because it was one of those you had to fill up with water. In the back of it, we had that one, and I remember when he bought it for me, man, we were just out there doing everything. My dad used to be out there with me too, having fun with it. It was cool because where we lived at that house over there on Otis, we would have it pushed up enough where we could shoot ball and stuff, but we also had the window. We'd keep the window open sometimes so we could watch, like, at the time, like, NBA playoffs or whatever's going on. We could look through the window directly into the TV still to watch it from there, too. But, oh, my dad used to be out there. He would play all the time. We would play different games. We'd play horse, or we would play. We'd actually do, like you said, too. We'd pick teams that we wanted to, and we'd shoot for, or, like, we would, because he used to do a lot of stuff that, like he used to when he would play like around the world, or he would just like put like, we would get like maybe chalk and like make certain like depending on how far back you were, you get certain points. So like way far, like the 3-pointer, you get 5 points for that one, or half court was 5 points, and you get 3 points, 2 points, 1 point for a layup or whatever. I did all kinds of stuff. I did the same thing you did, like I said, just picking teams and trying to do it. And sometimes I was fair, sometimes I wasn't. It's my game. I do whatever the hell I want with this. So.
Yeah, I could be so fair-blooded. Even I would lose to the Celtics. That's how bad it was, and I hated the
Nah, I'm never
Celtics.
losing
I
to the
didn't care.
Celtics. So I
But
don't
folks,
care.
see, that goes back to kind of like we were talking about earlier. Put the phones down, guys, girls. Since everybody plays basketball now at some point, put the phones down. Trust us. Go outside, get a basketball somewhere on a street
Oh,
court.
I still have. They still make these now. I remember I had basketball hoops. I put on back. Nolan right now on his door
Nerf.
has. He has a Nerf. He has a
Yeah.
basketball hoop connected to his door right
Yeah.
now. He has one connected to that,
I got in
and
trouble.
it doesn't come off.
I got in trouble for that. So in
Oh,
my bedroom, I had it hung behind the door,
I know.
and
I
I'd be
used to
in there,
bring
and I'd be
right into
dunking
my
the
door.
basketball, right?
Oh yeah.
And you
And
slam
just
it into the
boom.
door, and when you hear, you need to
Yeah.
knock that off right now. Stop
Yep.
that. Don't be
Yeah.
damaging the house. If you want to play, that's fine, but don't be damaging the house. Oh yeah,
Oh
Nerf
yeah.
basketball was the best.
Definitely, 100%. And then
Oh,
I remember when they used to come out when they finally came out the ones with electronically, that would keep score for you with
oh,
your
that is
ankles.
right. I
Like
never
that
had
was
that, but I know what you're talking about.
that's exactly what his is. But I remember the first time we got one, my dad got it for me. I mean, we put that. I don't know. We spent hours in my room playing. He would go in my room with me too. We would just play. We'd have so much fun with it. We'd shoot all over. It's fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
That's just there's nothing better than it. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
glad we
awesome.
had that at the same one to be able to talk about that at the same time. So that's great for sure. Moving on for me, my number 4, I'm going back to this, Top Golf. I love going to Top Golf. Man, it's so much fun. It is fun because it's so much fun now because they have it so set up for, even if you're not a golfing fan, they have the games there where you can just have so much fun to just barely put the ball out there. And it's not, Top Golf, I'm sorry, and maybe people don't agree with me, but it's not a thing for people who are professional golfers or who are into golfing to go out there. It's not a driving range to go out there and see. It's a fun time to enjoy with your friends, your family, whoever it may be, your significant other, and just enjoy a night out doing something fun.
Yeah.
It's not the sit at a movie theater and not talk the whole time. It's getting out there, doing something that maybe you guys aren't the best at, but you're having fun doing it. And then you can play games. You can have fun
Well,
with
you
it.
can
They
order
have
food. You
games
got
that can
food
make it
sitting at the table.
food. The food is amazing there. They have those donut holes. Those things are crazy good, man. You can put whatever filling you want in them and eat them. Yeah, those things are great. They're dangerous, but they're I freaking love. But that's the thing is, right? It's these are the things that you just enjoy going out and doing. Like I said, I'm not the best golfer at all. I'm not even close to being anywhere than what I was once at one point in time. But it's just being out there and the kids are into it now. They enjoy it. I took them there to play, and they absolutely loved it. Whether they could hit the ball far or not, they didn't care.
Well,
It
not
was
only
just the
that,
fun of
but
being in there and just having fun.
how cool is that for you and and Kayla to see Nolan and Avion go out there and hit golf balls for the first time or second time,
100%.
whatever it might be. But for
Yeah.
the very first time out there hitting golf balls or trying to hit golf balls, and you're out there trying to help them and stuff like that, and it's just a good time. It's a fun time. The food is good, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's a popular place, and I've been on the bottom, but I like being up top. I just think it's kind of cool to be on the upper deck and you're driving golf balls out there. I just think it has this cool,
Well,
and
and
you
see,
got a
we
little
were
bit of a
thinking that
breeze coming
too.
in.
We were thinking about that because when we last went, they asked us if we prefer being up or just on the bottom floor, and then I was like, well, we got the kids. It's
Yeah,
much
now you
more
gotta be
to be
careful.
on the bottom. But then I started thinking because the fact that they couldn't really hit it so far on the lower level, I was like, if they could have at least got some sort of a hit, it probably will roll further if they're
Yeah, good
higher
as possible.
on the top. So, but either way, they had a blast with it.
Yeah,
I mean, they absolutely had so much fun with it, and it's a great place to be. Um, and if you really think about it, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, well, Topgolf, it's really not that expensive because you pay by the bay. So if you get
yeah.
enough people to go with you, maybe you get like I think that they will. I think the limit's like 6 people per bay. If you just get like 6 people to go with you, and you guys can all just kind of divvy it up, it's really not that bad if you have enough people to do it all. So it's really not crazy as far as price wise, though.
No, and the bottom line is it's a good time. I've never been to Top Golf and not had a good time. I've never, whatever group
Definitely.
I've been with has not had a good time.
Oh
And that's
yeah.
the bottom line point of the whole thing is whatever you do, if you had a good time, then, I mean, maybe don't do it all the time because of the cost, but if it was a little bit expensive, it was still worth it because you had a good time and you shared it. It's a shared experience.
Well, the thing is unless you're doing like what we said, like a walk or like a bike ride or something like that. I mean, a lot of stuff is expensive nowadays, anyways, to go and do. It's even the zoo, like we said, unless you can go like on a free day or something like that. Things are just getting expensive to do regardless, and I think maybe that's a lot of reason why people stop doing some of this stuff is because of the price and stuff like that. But if you guys, I mean, if possible, guys, I mean, just like Mike said, every once in a while if you can. I mean, I'm not saying don't break the bank, don't go every week and stuff like that. But if you can, if you have the time, if you're able to, you have the money to do it, take the time to go and do it for sure.
You'll have a good time. Trust us.
Yeah, definitely. So what is your number 4 then?
Folks, this one's I don't know if it's a little outside the box. I don't know how many people get a chance to do this. I had a chance to take Anthony and his sister out one time to do this. And it's horseback riding. We went to a place out there in Colorado called Bear Creek State Park. And at that particular park, they had horseback riding. You go out with a couple of guides, one at the front, one at the back. You know, but it's horseback riding to me is pretty cool. I've done it freelance, so to speak, where you don't really have a guide, but I've also done it with guides because I had people with me that hadn't done it before. But it's just kind of a cool experience to be up on a horse. Horses are a little bit intimidating when you see them for the first time up close, and then you get on one for the first time. And Bud can attest to this because, like I said, we went out one time. It's a little bit intimidating when you get on for the first time. And if you get a horse that's a little bit grumpy, doesn't want to always cooperate, it can be a little bit of a challenge. And if you get that one horse that likes to stop every 5 seconds to graze and eat everything in sight, that's a little bit challenging too. But if you get that horse that cooperates, lets you lead him with the reins and a little bit of a kick just to keep him going, it's a pretty cool deal. One thing I say about horseback riding, folks, and guys, trust me, I'm speaking from experience here. 2 things. 1, never ever ride a horse in shorts, because trust me, you're going to rub the skin off of your ankles or your legs, or the saddle, not in the stirrups, whatever. It sucks. The other thing is, make sure you go to the restroom. Because if you're out there a mile out and you got to go to the restroom, there's no place to go, and they can't stop to let you go. So, and you're going to be doing some of this stuff along the way.
Oh, man.
It really doesn't go over too well. But if you can get through all that stuff, and you'll have a good time. It can be a little bit expensive, like Bud's talking about with some of the things. Some hobbies or some things you experience can be a little bit pricey, but things like Topgolf, going out, jumping on a horse. And I'll tell you what, if you're taking the kids out for the first time to see their reaction, because to see Anthony's reaction and his sister's reaction to getting out there on horses, that was worth anything that you would have to pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the experience of it. That's what makes
actually, Aviana's gotten on a horse before. We had this thing they called Cider Days just over here off of like Alameda Avenue, and they were able to put her on a horse, and they just kind of walk her around and she loved it.
Yeah.
She absolutely loved being on it, for sure. Yeah, it's
awesome.
great.
It's awesome.
Horseback riding is pretty fun. Like Mike said, it is a little bit intimidating at first because you don't know it's an animal though, right? You never know what could happen this and that, but for the most part, they're actually pretty chill, and they're actually pretty good for the most part. So it's actually pretty chill to do. I mean, they're not going to give you some crazy bronco or something that's just going to buck you off or something like that. At least you hope not. But like I said, it's an animal still, so you never know. And I mean, your cat sometimes will just bite you at occasions, right? So I mean,
and if
you never know.
And typically you're out there with a guide in front and a guide at back.
Yeah.
And like Anthony's saying, they give you a horse that's pretty mellow, and they're just going to go with the flow. So they're used to what they're doing. The horses they know how to behave. So if you get a chance, folks, definitely give horseback riding a shot. I don't think you're going to regret it.
Definitely. 100%. Moving on to me, my number 3 that we're in our top 3 now, volleyball. Absolutely love volleyball. Volleyball is so much fun. It's just one of those things where if you're having a barbecue, you always know somebody's bringing the volleyball net, right? You're going to be playing volleyball for any type of barbecue you have or any kind of parties that may be in the summertime, this and that. And it's always fun, right? I mean, everybody knows pretty much the gist on how to play volleyball, right? And there's always somebody in the group, and I'm one of them too, where we always think we can jump up and spike it. We can get above the net and things like that. I can't do it no more. I thought I could. And like I said, we used to do the adult field day stuff, and we started playing volleyball as one of the games there too. And I realized as I'm getting older, I'm not able to get up like I used to. I can't play the net like I once used to, but I'll talk trash and act like I know how to. That's for damn sure. But no, volleyball's fun. Absolutely love volleyball. It's one of those things where, like I said, everybody can kind of play. Everybody kind of gets the gist of it. And it's not one of those where it gets super competitive sometimes. It's always just fun. Everybody's just out there just having a good time.
And as Anthony knows, because obviously we talk about what we're going to talk about beforehand. So this is on my list too, folks. But volleyball to me is one of the best sports you can play as a group. And I'm talking if it's 5-on-5 guys, 5-on-5 girls, if it's co-ed, it's, you know, you're almost basically, as long as you're not getting ridiculous and spiking on people like you're on the pro volleyball circuit. I mean, you know, everybody's on an equal plane, equal level. Some are good at serving, some suck. You know, you miss a shot, that type of thing. But everybody's on an equal level, girls and guys. You're just having a good time. You cannot have a bad time playing volleyball. Most of the time, anytime I've done it, people wind up laughing because we all know, you know, it's just fun to do, and you just look ridiculous sometimes trying to play, but that's part of the whole appeal of it. And you play it anywhere, like Anthony's talking about, backyard, picnic, on the beach. You can do it anywhere, and it's just a great time. And I've never had a bad time playing volleyball. And I
absolutely agree.
I mean, it's one of the best team sports, and I love watching it on TV too. I've never really done the whole 2-on-2 thing. You watch it on TV like beach volleyball. 2-on-2 volleyball is almost insane.
That's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. I mean, I've tried it and I failed at it miserably. But it's fun to watch. But to play it, oh, what a blast! What an absolute blast!
Absolutely agree for sure. So what do you have as your number 3?
Oh, this I love. I don't know how many times Anthony's had a chance to do this. I absolutely love freaking go-karts. I mean, this is where you get as close to the Indianapolis 500 as I'll ever get. But it's you become semi-competitive when you jump into a go-kart. You can't flip the go-kart. It's almost impossible. You cannot flip a go-kart, but you can bump each other. You can just kind of you take the narrow turns and stuff. You got the tires that make up the track outline and stuff like that. And it's just the coolest little thing to do. And it doesn't matter what kind of track it is. Go-karts are just an absolute blast to get out there and do. And you get kind of competitive. And it's usually relatively cheap. And it might be sometimes you don't even really have to know how to drive. You can learn when you're out there doing go-karts. It's almost like bumper cars. You don't know what you're doing, but you just get out there and slam into crap and just have a good time with it.
I agree. I just always hated when I always got the slow one, though. Like, I'm not here to cruise. I'm here to try to go fast. Like, and everybody always says, like, oh, you know, you got to get the red one. The red one's fast. I was like, I don't know if there really is a thing where they can make them slower or faster. I think there is, because I have gotten into some where I'm like,
I have too,
these fools are lapping me. And how come I can't get? I'm flooring this thing.
Yep.
I'm flooring it. And I'm taking a nice. Like I said, it's Sunday night on Federal. That's what it is with this go-kart. Sometimes I'm like, I want to speed up. So then you got to go wait in line again and try to get into that fast one again or something like that. But no, absolutely, I do. I enjoy go-karts. It is fun. It definitely is fun.
You cannot have a bad time. At least I never have. I mean, it's just a blast. It's just an absolute blast. And it brings out the competitive, but it's a good competitiveness. Nobody's cussing at each other. They're just having a good time. Yeah. And it's just, girls, guys, everybody can have a good time doing it. Little kids, grown adults. Again, we're back to that whole thing. I think it's something for just about any age to get out there and do. Yeah. Go grab a go-kart, folks. You can go up to, what's that place up north, bud?
The Boondocks.
Boondocks. Yeah. Boondocks has a great golf or go-kart course. Go up to Boondocks, folks. If you're
They do too, and then there's another place right off of, I think it's at the Adventure Golf that's off of like 95th and Sheridan or something like that. They actually have go-karts there at that one too.
Yeah, it's a blast. Get out there and try go-karts, folks. You'll have a great time.
Definitely. Well, number 2, I've already talked about it. Mine was the zoo. We kind of already touched base on that, so I don't really want to go too in-depth in that. I know we're kind of coming up on kind of the end of the show here, so I'm going to kind of let Mike talk about his number 2 since we've already talked about mine. And yours is kind of going back into some more golf in there, correct?
Yeah, but it kind of touches folks. So kind of like with Topgolf. Topgolf is kind of like a little bit of a different take on a driving range. But like Anthony's talking about, but it's for fun. It's to have a good time. It's a family-oriented thing. You're not a pro golfer. I mean, come on, just go out and have a good time. Driving ranges are, to me, a blast. You know, you go out there and you don't necessarily have to know what you're doing. You can learn as you go. You can get a cheap driver, and you just go out there. You know, I don't know if you've ever done this, but have you ever gone out in Colorado to Aqua Golf?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so see, Anthony knows what I'm talking about, folks. Some of you out there know what Aqua Golf is.
I think we went before there too.
Yeah, we did go. Actually, you're right. We did go. I think you, me, and your sister went out there.
Yeah.
Great time, folks. Go out there. Your drive is kind of self-explanatory. Aqua Golf, water. Your driving range is the lake. You got your yard markings, your distance. You're just driving as far as you can drive, and it goes with like 300 plus yards, something like that. But you're not there you're not Tiger Woods. You're just out there trying to either learn how to swing a golf club. You're just out there to have a good time.
Or just to hit a ball in the water.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
The fun part.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally.
And no stroke penalty like you do when you're out on the course.
Exactly. I mean, occasionally a snake goes swimming by, and you're just like, oh wow, look, a snake. Okay, it's your turn. Go hit the golf ball. That type of thing. It's just a blast. One of the best times I ever had in my life, folks, was at a driving range. It was at Aqua Golf, and I think they still have it right there off of Santa Fe. And I can't think of what the cross street was, but
well, now we're not. I was going to say I could try to maybe pawn it off on the family to go to Aqua Golf now, but now that you say that there's snakes there, the wife's not going to go now. So thanks a lot. Aqua Golf is now out of.
Well, just remind her that once you hit the golf ball, you need to swing, let your motion carry you through. So you should be looking out. So she should never really be looking down, right?
At least I hope not.
And she's still up on a ridge, so I mean, she shouldn't see the snake. Folks, one of the best times I've ever had in my life was Aqua Golf. I went with a buddy one night. We got out there. We started hitting, and you get a bucket of balls. Anthony knows this. You get a bucket of balls for like 50 cents. You get like 3,000 golf balls for 50 cents. A little bit of an exaggeration, but you have a great time. We're out there one night, me and a buddy. We start hitting golf balls. I'm absolutely killing it, bud. I'm hitting them. I'm driving them great. They're going 250, 275 yards, right? Almost without fail. A storm is rolling in, and it's a thunderstorm. It's a lightning storm, right? So, and we knew this was coming because we knew what was going to happen. So and the place is packed. And so the rain starts coming down, and I'm hitting these golf balls beautifully. Best I ever drove a golf ball, period. And everybody starts scattering to the thing up top, the covering. And I refuse. I'm like, there's no way. I am driving this ball beautifully. It's a downpour. There's lightning everywhere. And I refuse.
It's like a Caddyshack thing.
I emptied my bucket with lightning and a driving rainstorm. And I looked up, and I had a baseball cap.
I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for much longer.
I've got water coming off the bill of my cap like Bud's got on. I look up, everybody is watching me, this stupid guy down on the driving range hitting golf balls. I did not care. If lightning struck me, I was going out fine because I was hitting these golf balls. I finished them, the weather cleared, and I had a great time. One of the best times I ever had in my entire life.
That's cool. No, that's great. I mean, it's always good when you go to these places and you can have memories too, right? That's the big part about it, and that's obviously why they're on their list too, because we go out there, we do it enough, we make the most out of it, we have the good memories for it. So that's obviously a big thing too for it. But that's great. No, that's pretty good.
Who doesn't want to get in the boat with the cage and go drive around and scoop up golf balls?
Oh yeah,
that'd be a cool little gig to do. Make a couple of bucks, go scoop up some golf balls. I mean, that type of thing. Just don't let Kayla look down, but tell her.
I know. We're kind of screwed now, so hopefully she's not watching. Hopefully she doesn't see this, and she'll never know. And we'll go, and then we'll just see if she figures it out. But but no, that's a great one for sure. Driving ranges are fun for sure. I was on one just recently and stuff like that. It is fun to just get out there and hit it. And like I said, Aqua Golf is even more fun too because you can hit it right into the water for sure. So.
But regular driving ranges are a blast too, folks. Any way you get a chance to do it, like Anthony said, just go out and give it a shot sometime. See what you think. It's pretty cool.
For sure. Well, number one, you obviously had volleyball, correct?
Yes, sir.
Number one. Anything you wanted to add to it at all?
No, I again, just, it's just a great team sport to get out and do, co-eds, all that type of thing. If you get a chance, folks, picnic, beach, go out and just have a good time with it. I think even Anthony will say, you're not going to have a bad time playing volleyball. If you never try it, go out and try it. It's good. It's a great time.
Definitely for sure. And number one for me, like I said, it would be the zoo, but if it wasn't for slow pitch softball, I mean, it would be the zoo. But I mean, it's just something that I just can't find a way to not do it anymore. It's just something that keeps coming to find. Like literally last night I got a call. I haven't been playing as much. I mean, I haven't been playing as much ever since we had Nolan. I've really kind of slowed down with that, which makes sense. Things like that, trying to be here with him more. But there was obviously a time where I was playing like 4 nights out of the week.
Yeah.
Throughout the week, and then on top of that, then tournaments Saturdays and stuff like that. Occasionally, I might get called on for co-ed on Sundays or something like that. We're just playing all the time. Like I said, last night I got a call from a buddy of mine when we were at my daughter's little dance thing and that they had for the school, and he's like, man, when we're short a person, you want to play? And I'm like, man, it's just like I can't. I keep telling myself, I'll tell my wife, like, I'm gonna retire this year, I'm gonna be done this year, and then the season comes back in, and I can't just get everybody. Oh, are you playing? You want to play? You want to play in this area? And I'm like, oh man, I was like, I can't stop. It's just in me. I love it. It's great. You know, a lot of people will kind of maybe like diss on it because it's a slow pitch. You know, everybody could hit a slow pitch softball. Yes and no. Now, if
Yeah,
you're playing in
silly.
a standard rec league, yes, of course you have fun. But you start getting into these tournaments, you start playing, you start traveling. I mean, this ain't no joke.
Yep.
It's. We had a tournament in North Dakota that we went and played, and man,
Wow.
it was a two. It was 2 game guarantee only. We only played 2 games, and we got destroyed
Yeah.
out there. I mean, we got destroyed by 2. I mean, and it wasn't even close. Well, I think the first team we lost to was like a Missouri team. The other team was like a North Dakota team out there, and they beat us bad. I mean, it wasn't even close. They beat us by like 15 runs both games. I mean, it was terrible. But the other thing is playing some of those competitions, playing some of these better teams, it helps you. You
Oh,
get
sure.
better. You're playing these teams, but for me, it's just being out there, being able to hit. I mean, I love being able to. I'm not a power hitter. Um, I'm basically I can put the ball wherever I want to on that field, and that actually makes it more fun sometimes out there because it makes them think I have no idea where to play this guy. I have no idea. I don't know if he's going to push it down the line, if he's going to pull it. I don't know if he's going up the middle. That's what makes it more fun, obviously for it. And then I've played pretty much everywhere on the field out there. I've been an outfielder. I mean, my main thing's first base now. I mean, I've played the hot corner at third, which I absolutely hate. If anybody asks me like, where do you know how to play? Like, do not put me at third. Do not. I don't have the glove anymore for it. I don't have the reaction time anymore. And some of these guys hit the damn ball so
Oh, my.
hard. And I'm like, no, I don't have that no more. And I've even pitched. I pitch now, and I try not to anymore because I've seen too much crazy things happen, and I'm not a type. I don't have a helmet like a lot of these guys are pitching now with the equipments and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you take one up the middle. Like I said, I don't have the reaction time I used to. I don't have, but still, sometimes it's fun. It's fun to get out there and just do it. Still, I absolutely love the game. I still, like I said, can't give it up. I don't know if I ever will until it comes to a point. Who knows? Maybe someday, Aviana and I are out there playing co-ed league, or Nolan's out there and I are playing together sometime. Who knows? But it's still something that till this day, like I said, I can't give it up. I've tried, but I still come back to it. Everybody still gives me a call to try to play with them, which makes me feel good too because it feels like I can still attribute out there. I feel like people still are like, this guy can still play. We know he can what he has in store, and we can still do it. So that kind of makes me feel good at that same time
Oh,
too,
sure.
being able to still do it.
Yeah, I
But I
know.
love it.
And we did that when I was a kid, but growing up in Texas, as a matter of fact, that was where I did it predominantly. But we would get out there in the summertime, and you probably did it too as a kid. Not necessarily, it was always softball type throws.
Oh
Nobody was
yeah.
doing the overhand thing. But you get out there, you throw some type of base out there. You spread them out. One's out further than the other, but you got the three bases out there and everything. You get together as a group and you play softball. And
Mhm.
it's co-ed. I mean, you can do whatever, and you have a good time with it. But you could just, again, these things we're talking about, free, competitive sometimes, but just a good time overall. I mean, I've
Yeah.
heard you talk about a lot of the stores. You get out there, and yeah, you're getting smoked or whatever, but it's
Oh,
just having a good time, and you do it
it
just for
is.
recreation purposes too. You're not. It's not that it's
Oh
a
yeah.
competitive thing. You're just out there, guys.
Oh.
You've told me getting out there at the fields, and it's kind of a league, but sometimes it's not. But it's just getting out there and playing a quick game and just having a good time.
Oh yeah, and then you're playing with a bunch of people that you're good friends with, or you have some family that you might play with. This and that. The other thing is the cool part about it is being able to do the traveling. Like I said, I played in North Dakota. I've actually had the chance to play in Vegas too, out there, and that's actually was fun to do too, to travel and to play in these other areas. That's actually fun to me too, to
Oh
be
yeah,
able, because you get to travel, you get to see
yeah,
other places, you get to play other teams rather than the same teams you see every single weekend because they're in the same division as you. Whether you're D, whether you're C, whether you're an E-ball player, whatever it may be, you see the same teams every single week. So it's like you get to travel up here, you get to see these, and like I said, whether you get smoked or not, at least take back the learning from it. What
yeah.
didn't you do well, or what could you have done better, or what did you learn from these guys that help make you better and stuff like that. So it's just all a learning thing. But like I said, that's the other cool thing is just being able to travel, being able to be out there. be with people that you enjoy playing with too. That's the other fun thing is I played with so many different teams myself, but every single teams that I played with, I've always felt like it was fun to be around. I never really had, whether it be rec or playing competitively, it's just always been fun to me. And like I said, it's to a point where it has to be number one on my list because I just cannot give it up at all. I just can't. As much as I tried, I just can't do it.
Well, and again, baseball and softball have been a part of your life forever.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, the reason why too I stick to the softball is because I tried to get into some of these other baseball leagues, and I tried to get into one of the Mexican leagues right after high school, maybe about a year and a half of being out of high school, and just the fact of not doing any type of baseball stuff for almost a year and a half, and these guys play all the time. I mean, I was so bad out there. I remember I played. I had a friend of mine. He's like, "We're looking for another person to come play second. You want to try it out?" I was like, "Of course," because that was what I did. I was a second baseman in all of high school. This and that. You got me for sure. My first at bat, I couldn't see the ball. I couldn't track it. No, I mean I couldn't read a curve. I couldn't read a fastball. I remember this guy came in to pitch in relief. Probably 50 years old.
Gee whiz.
Struck me out. This guy had junk I have never seen in my life. Now, let me tell you, this junk was probably coming in at 60, 70 miles an hour, nothing crazy.
But he knew how to
the
work
slider, the drop he had, I looked stupid. I looked absolutely. I was better when I had a young pitcher just bringing heat that I could make contact with because it was straight. It was just a straight ball. I got to make some sort of contact. If I swing a little early, just put the ball in play, make something happen. That junk, I just sat there and I just said, I'm just going to take my losses. And after that, I said, I'm not built for this. I'm not built for baseball anymore. Unless I went out and I'd have to like just train, work hard, do all that. But at that time, I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not making money for this. I don't need to train for it. I mean, I'm not going in with it. That's when basically slow pitch softball started coming more into my life, and I started playing more of that. After that happened, I told my buddy, I was like, dude, I'm not. After that game, I said, I'm not built for this, bro. I was like, that dude made me look stupid up there at bat. He made me look stupid up there, and I had no clue what to do.
Yeah, but it's like you said too, but you got a chance to do a little bit of traveling, so you kind of got that idea of what the athletes.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like traveling city to city, stayed like a semi decent hotel or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's kind of that whole athletic experience. You get out, step outside the box for a couple of minutes, a couple of days,
Definitely.
whatever, and just go in and just enjoy yourself. That's pretty.
And I
cool.
love it too because I was able to bring the family. At the time, we didn't have Nolan yet when we traveled to North Dakota, but Aviana was with us, so she actually traveled with us. We drove up there, and then Nolan was kind of with us in Vegas because she was pregnant with him at the time. So he was kind of with us there. But obviously, as they get older, as we're able to travel more, as I probably will keep playing, we'll probably get to travel and play in other places too.
Yeah.
As we move on, but that's just kind of how that goes. But yeah, it's something like I said that it's still a part of my life hugely. I'm probably, like I said, never gonna get over playing it. Never gonna give it up for at least. I mean, I just turned 34 this past month, so I mean I still got plenty of. I mean I know guys out there still playing in their 50s, 60s years old still. Obviously they have the senior leagues after that you could play in. So I mean I got plenty of years left in me. So I don't know. Maybe it's not the time for me to give it up. I just took a few years off. Like the Jordan thing. I took off a couple of years and come back and be better than ever.
Hey, we always try to do what we enjoy, but we always.
100%, 100%.
Awesome, bud. I like that. That's nice.
Well, good. This is a great one. I really like doing this list. This one was fun for sure. I mean, I love doing all these lists that we figured out. Just so you know, guys, we did when we were talking about this earlier. For one, let us know what you guys think about our list. Anything that we may have forgotten that you guys enjoy doing outside. Like I said, Mike and I are kind of we're on the same page as far as like we're not the big outgoing people, but let us know about like if you're into the winter stuff where you do like snowboarding, you do like being out there, maybe I like snowmobiles, skiing, sledding, those types of stuff too. It may not be our cup of tea, but we're still here to enjoy it with you guys too. Just like some of this stuff may not be your cup of teas. Oh well, let us know. Kind of maybe throw us out to some other things. Maybe something we could try too. If it's something that we would love to try to do also. But no, this is fun. Next week, Mike and I are talking. We're gonna do our top 10 favorite drinks. Now don't get crazy here, guys. We're not gonna get into like alcoholic drinks or anything like that. We're gonna keep this, we're gonna keep this PG. We're gonna keep it with our, you know.
Yeah, I threw out a Long Island iced tea, but Bud said, "Hold on, time out, time out. We're not going that route, Mike. Come on, chill out."
I get it. I get it. I mean, me myself. I mean, I'm not a huge drinker anymore. I
I'm
don't
not
drink
either, folks.
at all. Things like that. I mean, I've had my time before. I once was, but once I had my son, I gave it up. So actually, I do not drink at all.
And I don't either,
Probably
folks.
I haven't probably had a drink in almost over 3 years myself. So at all, but no, it's favorite. It could be pops, juice, tea, coffee. I mean, energy drink, whatever we could think of that we just think that we drink more. What we really enjoy, what tastes the best. That's going to be on our list. So keep that in mind for you guys next week too. We'd love to hear your guys' list also on outdoor events plus next week for the drinks too. But appreciate you guys again for tuning in. Another great episode. Like I said, sorry we were out for a couple of weeks. Like I said, just a few things going on. Family emergency stuff here that we had to take care of. But everything is good now. We're back to normal. We should be back to our normally scheduled times every single week. We'll be back again next week. Same time, 6:30 Mountain Standard Time here. Hopefully get into some talks some more. Obviously, like I said, we're going to be probably right in that middle of the WrestleMania that we had talked about today. Also, probably get a little bit more in depth about about the Final Four stuff. I was just going to bring it up real quick, guys. It looks like Bama pulled out that win on Clemson, 89-82. So they did win that. So big win there for Bama. Clemson was kind of leading that whole game a little bit there, and it looks like Bama kind of pulled it out. That's what I'm talking about with this Bama team, Mike. They can score at will, So I mean, it's going to be kind of crazy. Obviously, Bama's going to end up having to play UConn.
And surprisingly, the ACC's last shot is the Wolfpack. That kind of surprised me. I guess if we all looked at that before the tournament started, we'd have said, well, they might be the first ones to go, but here they are.
Yeah, so, but also, guys, make sure to tune in tomorrow. We got those two good games. Obviously, number 1 Purdue against number 2 Tennessee, and then NC State's looking to move on with Duke and see if they can keep the Cinderella story going. But like I said, next week we'll get into some more of that, get into the Final Four stuff. We'll see what else we can kind of get into. We'll always have our beefs of the week. We'll have our top 10. Obviously, maybe we'll get into a little bit of baseball talks. That baseball's obviously starting up now. Opening day was just a couple of days ago, so maybe we'll get a little bit more in depth into some baseball. Kind of talk about that. But like I said, drop comments, drop likes. Let us know if there's anything that you guys want us to kind of touch base on or that we haven't talked about. Let us know, guys. We'll definitely look into that for you. So, anything else, Mike, that you want to add?
Yeah, folks, just again real quick, not to forget the ladies. Obviously, their tournament is ongoing. Obviously, there'll be some games on Monday, and Iowa will be there. Obviously, continuing to try to make their run against LSU. South Carolina State will be trying to remain undefeated throughout, if they can win the tournament. That's a rare accomplishment these days. So, obviously, the women are still going strong. So we got to throw some props out to them as well. And as always, folks, it's always greatly appreciated, the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. Obviously notifications. So please, if you like what we do, just give us that thumbs up, a little bit of a comment here and there, because it's greatly appreciated. And again, as Anthony says, it lets us kind of know what you like, what you don't like, and it helps us to improve the product. But other than that, as I always, I can't be remiss on this. This gentleman next to me, folks, this show, what you see, everything, the quality, how it's presented to you is not physically possible without this gentleman's ideas, his abilities, and just everything that he brings to it. He is phenomenal at what he does with this, and without this man, it is not possible. So I have to make sure he receives his props and my appreciation for everything he does with this process week in and week out. And this is, as always, a big shout out to Mr. Anthony Alvarez and everything that he helps make possible with this program.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's definitely fun to do. I enjoy it for sure. But no, thank you, Mike. Obviously, you helped me out with a lot of stuff too. So don't sell yourself short. Obviously, you had a great idea bringing up the WrestleMania. That's something I hadn't thought about or anything like that. But, you know, we work hard together, guys, to make this happen for you guys. So please, like I said, if you can, you know, hit the like button. It helps us more than you guys actually think, just to take a few seconds just to pop in and hit that like button on there and subscribe if you like what we're doing. But once again, we'll see you guys next week. Appreciate everybody coming out tonight that's been out. Appreciate everybody that's been here watching us too. We definitely appreciate the love and support for sure. So everybody, have a great week and stay safe out there, everybody.
Until next